King's protest and the I think it was 532 Nika riots in Constantinople, basically where there was riots throughout the city for days, and eventually there was a slaughter of the rioters in a hippodrome. 30,000 died. And then Constantinople under Justinian I went on to become the most prolific Byzantine empire in history. So could that happen with America? Now, I don't think that we need to slaughter 30,000 people, although that could happen throughout many cities upcoming. I think there could be an arrest of these Antifa, No Kings protesters. I think just get them in one place and just arrest them all, right? So that's Mike. That's Mike, because Mike looks at history. Mike has memories of the Nika riots, right? I believe that Belisarius, who was the general that basically did that slaughtering, is a reincarnation of Trump. Now, Trump is probably, as we've seen, far more peaceful, probably because of his history of having been Patton and Belisarius and probably some other generals throughout time. But he's been very peaceful ruler, done very good job. I think that the fact that he's been putting military surgically into the cities very early has been helping to quash what could be a lot of violence in those cities on an extreme level. I think that extreme level is coming. I think that sometimes you have to act, and you have to act aggressively. Otherwise, things get out of control, like they did with the Nika riots back in 532, and what I believe we're starting to see now in America. Same situation. History repeating itself once again. All right, so let's look at a little bit of history. First of all, we're going to look at Melania. So Melania Trump is, I think, doing a very good job. All right. I think many people all over the world see her as a great asset to the presidency. Great first lady, very attractive, very well spoken, educated. You know, she's like that other side of things that we've seen in the past. We've seen the opposite of what Melania is pretty much in the Oval Office for many presidencies, unfortunately. So Melania Trump says back channel with Putin led to return of Ukrainian children. The First Lady said she has been in contact with the Russian leader since sending him a letter in August expressing concern for abducted children. So we know that she is very active with the children, as is President Trump. And as many of us have been reporting, that of all of the abductions of children, trafficking of children, and the disappearance of children, unfortunately, President Trump has been more active than any other president in history. And of course, his lovely wife, Melania, is at the forefront of that as well. So now, if we look back, like I talked about in a show recently, where I talk about the white hats, the red hats, and the black hats, we have seen probably back channel type stuff that is happening. Of course, it's happening on both sides. If we look at back channel type stuff with JFK, one of the reasons why we have heard that he was assassinated from people that were part of that red hat back channel, dark hat group, right? And there is I believe, a white hat, red hat back channel, right? So, so there's like, there is this little war that's going on right now, and a lot of people are being exposed to it. And I've been in combat for most of my life. I've seen the horrors of combat. I'm seeing the horrors of combat now in America. And a lot of people are starting to be exposed to it, and they're not liking it. They don't understand it. All right. So one side has to win. Which side do you want to win? Do you want your side to win? Of course, the other side wants their side to win as well. So there is this, this back and forth that's going on right now. And this has happened, obviously, many times in history. And the one that I'm speaking of that I'm going to highlight is a time where basically they stood firm, and they went on to rule for 30 years in one of the most glorious golden ages in history, right? That only was stopped out by a bubonic plague, right? The first bubonic plague. Very similar to what we have seen now, isn't it? So we've already seen a plague, the COVID, and we're seeing this uprising, just like they saw back in Constantinople. So the First Lady, Melania Trump, is a back channel. And just like President JFK had his own back channel there to the Russians, they used that as an excuse to assassinate him, right? The Red Hats, right? So the Red Hats, I've actually had James Files on my show multiple times with Ole Demigard and others, where we discussed how he was part of basically a Red Hat group that came in and assassinated President Kennedy because he had gotten out of line, according to the deep state, right? So again, we're going to see this push back and forth of these factions. I think that President Trump is at the forefront of a President Kennedy-like faction now, and that he has Red Hat activity going on for the good guys now. So the Black Hats started, I believe, this Red Hat activity where they had these assassins, and they called them the 30 Assassins. James Files was one of those assassins. And he talked about how there's this whole group, and they have these women. All right, so we've had lots of people come on and talk about this, about how there's women that are basically come in and give these guys or with these guys, right? Kind of like a Jeffrey Epstein type situation, and Kathy O'Brien has been on my show talking about this, how they develop these girls from birth to be spies, and they pass information, they have sex with these presidents and men and so forth, and they're gathering information for the dark side, all right, the Black Hats. So the Black Hats use like Red Hats, right? So Kathy O'Brien, I would say, would have been a Red Hat that is now a White Hat, all right? I know it gets a little confusing here, but you can switch sides and you can go to the good guy side. That's what we hope everybody does, but some will not. Now, James Files, in my opinion, has gone to the good guy side, and he is disclosing about the use of he being a Red Hat by the Black Hats. All right, so he was the assassin behind the picket fence that shot President Kennedy and blew the back of his brain out. All right, so he talks about that. He's been on my show many times, and he talks about how they would use these women. One of them was for Ted Kennedy. She got out of line, and James Files and his group came in and they suffocated her, put her in the car, and Chappaquiddick, they pushed it into the water. And Ted Kennedy, after they said, you can go to the police after we leave the island, because they had to catch a ferry off the island. So they got on the ferry, and then he went to the police like 2 hours later, and everybody's like, why did you wait 2 hours? Well, because those guys that killed her, killed his, I guess, his squeeze, his this woman that's basically part of the Red Hat group that was gathering information. She was getting out of line, so they had to eliminate her, right? Kathy O'Brien was going to be eliminated, and she was saved. Her daughter was part of this process too. She rescued her daughter. So it's a red hat, black hat, white hat, red hat operations that are going on all over the place right now, right? So Melania Trump having a back channel to Putin, Russia, would have been grounds for the black hat, red hat operations to kill her, right, in the past. So that's where we're at. We're at a very, very interesting, inflection point in America, where one side is going to win decisively, right? So it's very important that everybody understands this process, because through that understanding, it's a shield. It's a shield for us against the deep state, right? So if we have that knowledge, if we have that understanding, then their fear and manipulations that they use to usually control people, we're shielded from it with our knowledge, right? So you need to understand how this is working. So Melania Trump, back channel to Putin, leading to the return of Ukrainian children. So we're in a reveal of children being used by the deep state, the black hats, because they're innocent and they like to use them. They like to use that innocence because they're extremely bad. Right? I'm not going to go too deep into this. We've talked about adrenochrome and sacrifice and all this kind of stuff in other programs, and lots of stuff. But just understand that this is being exposed, and this is part of that process, right? It's a slow process to try and awaken as many people as possible. But at some point, in my opinion, you're going to have to do a Nika riot type situation. All right, so let's go a little bit further into history here, so that we can understand what Mike is talking about as far as like the Nika riots. So some of you, it's basically you're not that much into history, but history is very important, because you will repeat history if you fail to learn the lessons of history. So we have a history lesson that we're all up against right now, and we need to learn from it. Otherwise, we're going to repeat it in a negative way. So we want it to happen in a very positive way, like it did then. But if it doesn't happen, because it was right on the cusp, Justinian was ready to walk away. But I think it's Isadora was his wife, basically convinced them that it's better to be buried in your purple robes, which was the sign of royalty back then, than to run and live like a pauper or whatever. So it ended up being good. And that's what we're seeing right now with America. Are we going to just let them take over? Because we're right at that cusp, right? Or are we going to basically fight back, right? So there could be some issues. I think there's going to be issues in some cities. Like I've said, some cities are going to be destroyed. So what to know about the upcoming Kings protest? No Kings, right? So they're all about no Kings, which is ridiculous, because in a communist situation, the communists are the ones that are the kings, and they're worse than the other kings, right? So this is what these people don't understand, because they're brainwashed into believing that communism is the way to go. They believe that capitalism is a curse, and that anyone that believes in capitalism is bad. If it wasn't for capitalism, they wouldn't even exist, literally exist. So they don't realize that. They're brainwashed, and we have to resist these people, these brainwashed people, right? So it's possibly going to get ugly. Right? I don't think it's even started yet, guys, compared to what's going to be happening. So what to know about the upcoming No King protest? Demonstrations will once again take to the streets for No King's Day, a nationwide series of protests against the Trump administration. So that's not really against the Trump administration. It's against us that are conservative, that believe in families, that believe in good, like religion, Christianity, all the things that are like make everything great, I believe. They don't like that at all, right? And so we're bumping up against that. So while protests against President Trump have not been uncommon since his first term, No King's Day kicked off on June 14th. That was the Army's 250th anniversary military parade and also President Trump's 79th birthday. All right, so across the country, 2,000 No Kings protests are scheduled for next Saturday. 2,000, all right, according to a post from the Indivisible Project. So there are plans against major cities like Los Angeles, of course, Boston, of course, Washington, of course, Chicago, of course, Atlanta. All these are known. We know these are compromised cities and cities that I believe every one of these cities will be gone. Atlanta, New Orleans, Kansas City, Missouri. I don't know about that one, but in Bozeman, Montana, I don't believe that's going to go, but they're, going to basically protest there and maybe even riot. Planned protests stretch into Canada and as far south as Madrid, a town in Mexico. So October 18th, 7 days from today, next Saturday, there will be millions, as they say, of us rising again to show the world America has no kings and the power belongs to the people. All right. So these are communists. These are terrorists. And I think they need to be treated as such, guys. I think these people should be rounded up. Wherever they go to protest, they should be rounded up and thrown in jail. I'm just saying it, right? I'm just coming right out and saying it, right? It gets me in trouble, whatever. Somebody has to say it, and it needs to be done at some point. The sooner, the better, right? So that's pretty much what we're seeing upcoming. Now, No Kings movement issues warnings ahead of next anti-Trump protest. Warnings, because President Trump, the king, I guess, to them, has put out a lot of military into cities, and he could possibly put out more military. All right, so No Kings movement issues these warnings, and they talk about different things. Where's the article? It disappeared. Look at that. It's like doesn't want to show. How about that? Huh. It's like, no, you cannot show us. Wow. How about that? Come on. Continue, whatever. All right. Newsweek came out after me personally, so maybe this is them coming at me again. They've come after me before in the past for posting stuff. So anyway, they're out there saying, I read their article, so I'll tell you what it said. It said that they're concerned and they want people to not get violent, which of course they want them to get violent. All right. They're going to have, this is Antifa going to show up with these guys. Antifa is a violent organization. They're the brown shirts of the Democrat Party. So they're going to use this as a way to come into these events and start riots, just like they did with the last protest we had. Not Rodney King, but the I Can't Breathe guy. Well, I can't think of his name right now. But anyway, they're basically going to do the same thing again. They're going to protest, and these protests that are coming are going to be even more violent than the ones we've seen in the past. So George Floyd, yes, thank you. Wolf Mother. So George Floyd riots were prelude to what is coming, right? So you know how violent they were, how they burned cities, how lots of people died. So will President Trump this time really crank down on them? He's got to do it. He's got to do it. And will his red hats make that happen? All right. So that's what I'm looking at. So the red hats are kind of like, they're dicey. They're dicey, right? But you have to have these guys ready in case things get out of hand, because the black hats have their red hats, right? So we should have red hats, and I know that we do. I've seen their involvement. I don't know their group specifically, but I know they're in that. I know some of the people that are involved because I've seen them. Right, I've seen them, and I saw some of them at Charlie Kirk, the Charlie Kirk event shooting. Right, that's basically moving us into the direction of where we need to be going forward, guys. Right, so is it all pushing us into this direction that we're going to have to like really fight back against this Antifa, no kings, communist, radical, women with the nose rings type movement? It's out of control. It's out of control. And God, those women, when you bring that up, boy, do they blow up. And that's why I just said it. All right. So, wow, they don't like men at all. They make it known. So, and there are probably going to be a lot of those women that are going to be marching in these No Kings coming riots, right? So DHS adding additional protection, Department of Homeland Security adding additional protection around Boardview Ice Center near Chicago. Now, I've seen that there also have been some fencing, some heavy-duty fencing going up around Washington, D.C. Was this anticipating this coming No Kings, coming riots? And I'm telling you guys, if I would like, okay, you guys have your little protest, and we're going to make it all safe for you in this box. We're going to put up this fencing. You're going to be safe in here. You got everybody you got? Everybody here? Everybody good? Remember J6? Remember J6? Yeah. We're going to like arrest every one of you. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little over the top, but that's the way I would do it, guys. Right? And it needs to be done. At some point, if we don't do it, if we don't do it soon, it's going to get super violent to the point, because just like we're doing with the violent criminals that are here illegally, we need to start arresting these people because they're terrorists, right? They're terrorists. They're going to tear down America. And no kings. Are you kidding me? We've never had kings here in America, jackasses. So anyway, this is part of the deception that they use to basically destroy what's left of America. We're teeter-tottering right now, and they want to push us over the edge.
Thanks for having me down the back.
All right, so let's just put it in. They're getting ready. They're getting ready for the violence. Now, is it just for the No Kings event? No. They're going to have to build that wall, and that's going to be permanent until their No Kings movement is done. All right, the No Kings movement has been obliterated here in America. So, I'm a very loving, humble, and peaceful guy, but we're reaching a point where we need to really start to take action. And if we don't do that, then we're doomed. All right. We're doomed like those back in 532 AD in Constantinople, right? At the time, it was a great empire. But it was just like America is now. It was teeter-tottering, right? The sports riot that nearly destroyed Constantinople in 532. Now, we've seen, sports riots in Europe. We've seen, winning teams here in America. They are the losing team. They riot, they burn, stuff. It's crazy. But it all pales in comparison to what happened in Constantinople back in 532. The Nika riot, alternatively referred to as the Nika revolt or Nika uprising, 532 AD, was one of the deadliest riots in human history. and certainly the worst to have occurred in the late period of antiquity. It led to the deaths of approximately 30,000 people. Now, I don't know. In comparison, we're probably talking millions, guys, which I think is very possible, unfortunately, going forward in some of our cities. The riot occurred during the rule of Roman Emperor Justinian I and was largely instigated by the city's two major chariot racing teams. There was actually four. There was the Reds, there was the Whites, the Blues, and the Greens. But the Blues and the Greens were basically at each other. And so there have been problems before. And so now they teamed up. They teamed up, and they're like, we hate our elite. We hate our king. Sound familiar? And so they're basically going to riot, and they started rioting in the Hippodrome. Now, I've been to Constantinople. I've been to this area. For me, it brought back memories because I have been there in past lives. So it was pretty interesting to see the palace. Justinian basically came out. So the Hippodrome was central to political and social life of Constantinople. Estimates regarding the Hippodrome's seating capacity range from 30 to 60,000. Due to its size and capacity for a large audience, it was an ideal place for the emperor to address the population. Kind of like, the Roman Colosseum, but this was even bigger. So you look at that, and it was magnificent. It was the biggest in history. So violence was not uncommonly spilled outside the Hippodrome into the streets after some of these events, kind of like what we still see throughout the world. All right. So violence after these events, people get all wound up, and whether they win or lose, they cause riots. It's crazy the way the human consciousness is, but it's still the same. It hasn't changed much, has it?
I'm still not sure.
And it's going to be a problem coming up. So it goes on to fall. So the cause of the Nika riot appear to have been a mixture of simmering political and social tension. Sound familiar? These came to a head at the Hippodrome, where the emperor was met with jeers and insults from the crowd. Sound familiar? All right. So the Blues and the Greens sought clemency because they'd done some crimes. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. So they started rioting. All right. Justinian refused, leading to dire consequences. The two rival factions, the Blues and the Greens, who had perpetually clashed, forged an uncommon alliance. In unison, the populace, like the the Antifa and BLM with the leftist, that's pretty much what we're seeing right now, right? Uncommon alliance. So they, in unison, the populace began chanting Nika, signifying victory or conquer in Greek. This chant, previously employed to rally behind charioteers at the Hippodrome, now resonated as a collective reproach directed towards the emperor, right? The king, Trump, all right? So the seething crowd launched their initial assault on the Praetorium, the very side of the housing prison. So they basically spilled in the streets. The emperor retreated into the great palace walls, and then they started burning, just like they did during George Floyd, just like they're going to do coming up again. Once again, it's going to reach this. It's going to reach this again, guys. It's going to happen again. All right. So as dawn broke on the following day, January 14th, so this was the chariot races were on the Ides of March, right? Or no, the Ides of, January, whatever it was. So anyway, Justinian reappeared at the Hippodrome, his last-ditch endeavor to quell the unrest. This time, the emperor yielded to the rioters and agreed to the ousting of the deeply unpopular prefect, John the Cappadocian, and Castor Tribonian from their positions. By now, however, the rioters were beyond reconciliation. So give them an inch, they want a mile, and give them another inch, they want another mile. So that's what has been going on, I believe. All right. We've been giving these people leeway and giving them what they want, thinking that they will be satisfied, but they want more and they want more and they want more, and they're going to take over. And it's going to destroy everything that America has worked for the last hundreds of years. All right. A great fire spread across the Capitol, engulfing several important buildings such as the Hagia Sophia and the Senate House. The Hagia Sophia, I've been there, unbelievable. During its time, it was the most, it was impossible. No one could build what they built, but they did it, right? So unbelievable, still going there today. It's a magnificent building. The situation was made worse still by members of the Senate who opposed Justinian. Sound familiar? With the riots in full swing, they saw an opportunity to depose the emperor. So what we're seeing right now with the Senate, the Democrats in the Senate refusing to pass the bill, all right, for funding, the funding bill, and it's causing lots of problems. The Democrats didn't want to fund the military, their pay. All the Republicans did, but the Democrats didn't. So President Trump has promised that the military is going to get their pay. Very smart, right? So it ends up they chose somebody else. Hypatius was former Emperor Anastasius' son, I think, or nephew. And so they're like, he's going to be our ruler now. So they put him in Justinian's chair that he would be in. It would be like them going into the White House and going into the Resolute desk and putting somebody else there that they wanted there. All right. So don't think that they don't want to do that. They would, if emboldened, they would do that. So the rioters were crushed. Now, this is where Empress Theodora came in. So, you know, the women have done a really good job, you know, over the last several years of, you know, keeping things in line. So Theodora back then, you know, came out and basically said, hey, royal purple makes a fine burial shroud. So we need to hold the line here. So Generals Belisarius and Mundus, with the leadership of the troops, tasking them with crushing the rioters at the Hippodrome. So they blocked off the Hippodrome, just like I think they should block off those protesters, right, and arrest them. But in this case, because they had done incredibly evil things and they were very, you know, unjust in many ways and needed to have justice served to them, they went in and slaughtered them, right? So they locked the doors, the soldiers and the generals went inside and they killed everybody, right? So the same Grand Chariot racing area that witnessed the inception of the Nika riot became the site of its brutal suppression. The soldiers effectively barricaded all exits and slaughtered those inside. When the day concluded, a staggering death toll of approximately 30,000 had accumulated. Justinian had the ringleaders and conspirators executed, among them his rival, Hypatius. He then secured his political positions and rebuilt Constantinople, thus ending one of the bloodiest sports riots in human history. All right. Quite fascinating story. And 6 days of riots and revolt ended. And after that, they didn't have any more chariot races. Right? So people got too wound up and too crazy. You know, it took them 5 years to rebuild the Hippodrome, but I guess the chariot racing that was the end of it. No more chariot racing. There were other spectator events that they had, but other than that, that was pretty much it. All right. So, like I said, Constantinople went on from that point for another 30 years, expanded the empire. It was bigger than anything that ever, the biggest empire ever in history, right? And it was, like I said, a golden age for the Byzantine Empire. Now, remember, Constantine basically Constantine the Great basically left Rome and started Constantinople because he saw that Rome was corrupt and child sacrifice and pedophilia, kind of what we're seeing today. All right, so he basically built Constantinople, and then 500 years later, or approximately 400 some odd years later, they had that crazy riot, right? So 300 or 400 years later. So kind of like, what we're seeing here in America, the same buildup. Now we don't have any chariot races anymore, so we don't have to worry about, riots from that. But we definitely have all the ingredients of what that riot caused, dissension and so forth. There's only one remedy, guys. It's only one remedy. We allow them to completely take over, or stop them out, arrest them, right? I'm not going to say the other thing, but I think that's going to happen in a lot of cities. There will be slaughter in many cities, right? So, do I live in a treehouse? Pretty close to it. All right. I live on a mountainside, right? It's pretty cool. It's beautiful. So yeah, Justinian, like I said, now why do I focus on that? And why would I want to see Trump overcome that Nikotite riot, right? That we're basically in the midst of. So under the Reconquest, General Belisarius, Justinian's forces recaptured territories from the Germanic tribes, bringing North Africa. Sound kind of interesting. Germanic tribes, what's going on in Ukraine, all right? So they went on to basically conquer and bring peace and stability to a massive, widespread area. So we've heard how America could absorb Canada, could absorb Greenland, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. So that would be the same thing, an expansion of the empire, but it can't happen with these riots that are ready to happen, right? So that has to be crushed. That has to be crushed. And once that's crushed, once that's exterminated, and those people that are part of that are imprisoned or whatever, then we can move on and have a peaceful world. We will not have a peaceful world. We will continue to have these wars, rumors of wars, and on and on and on. And they will be very challenging. They will drain America, and they will destroy America. So legal reforms. So this could also be something that could come from this, I believe. Justinian is best known for his comprehensive legal code, the Corpus Juris Civilis, body of civil law, which consolidated centuries of Roman law, became a foundation for later Western law. So I think we're on the verge of reformulating the law because we're seeing how corrupt it is. And I think that's part of what's coming too. Religious policies. Justinian enforced religious uniformity, attempting to impose a single Christian faith throughout the empire. His religious zeal also led to the construction of the famous Hagia Sophia in Constantinople, like we talked about. Domestic reforms. So we have this Islamic. So being diverse is not our strength. It's never a strength and never has been throughout history. So being uniform and, working together as a team, as a culture and so forth, always produces unbelievable, great achievements and golden ages, right? So I think we're on the verge of a golden age, but we can't have these competing radical forms of religion. And Islam is not a radical form of religion, but the Islamists, the radical right wing of Islam, is the Sharia law and so forth. I fought that for almost half my life. it is not good, right? And to see that seeding itself into America, I find that very disturbing. That has to be cleaned up as well. So religious reforms, domestic reforms, Justinian reorganized the imperial government, increased government accountability. We're seeing that now, and worked to reduce corruption. We're seeing that now. And I believe he worked to reduce the government body as a whole, which Trump is also doing. Challenges and disasters. His reign also saw the destruction, like we talked about, Nika riots in 532, first documented outbreak of bubonic plague in the Mediterranean. Now, we've already seen that happen with the COVID, right? So now I think that a lot of these plagues have been foisted on humanity by the deep state, guys, right? Just like we know that they did COVID, and they did the COVID vaccination, and they do all the vaccinations. That's part of the deep state. That is something that has been part of a problem for humanity for a long time, right? So very, very interesting. I think you guys will agree how this all relates to what's going on now. Now, I want to take you into, so I big pictured you, right? So now we need to get down into the meat of some of this stuff. All right, some of the red hat, black hat, white hat stuff, right? So these different factions that are out there that are trying to move us, some in a positive direction and some obviously in a negative direction. Now, I believe that Charlie Kirk, and I don't know how close I am to this, or there could be parts of this I'm accurate on, or if I'm completely off base. I don't think I know I'm not completely off base, but there are, because like I said, I've seen some of the actors on the ground, right? And I know those actors, right? And I know that they're part of probably red hat groups, right? Positive on the Charlie Kirk assassination. So now I think, just like with President Trump's assassination attempt, that was a captured operation. They were coming in to do something very negative, just like on 9/11, how they had put options on all of the airlines that flew into buildings or blew up in the Pentagon, or mysteriously crashed in fields with no aircraft real parts or anything, or bodies or whatever. So it's all set up. That's a deep state black hat operation. Black hat, red hat, right? The red hats, excuse me, the red hats that work for the black hats, right? So what we saw with on 9/11 was a total red hat, black hat operation, right? The red hats for the black hats. And they set up the demolitions and the thermite and, the imaging of planes crashing into buildings, which is completely false and fake, right? Now, a lot of people, they get stuck. They get stuck on, like, the person that supposedly died at Trump's event. They're like, well, what about it's like, it didn't happen, right? Like they said it, duh. All right, if he wasn't, shot, the whole thing is staged. Hello. So the same thing with 9/11. So now with President Trump's assassination, that was a red hat, white hat operation. Okay. So you need to start to make the distinction, right? So you have these secretive, militaristic intelligence groups, right? That work in the white hat favor. And you have the secretive CIA, whatever, FBI, right? Of course, the FBI is being taken back, to a certain extent by Bongino and Kash Patel. So, but you have factions within it still, and they're trying to take those black hat, red hat factions out of there. So I see the CIA and the FBI as kind of like floating red hat groups, right? That can be used by either side. The red hats for the white hats are starting to really get activated and eliminating the black hat red hats, right? So I don't think it's that hard to see that now, because I'm going to continue this line because you need to understand it. It's taken me, I've seen this for a long time. I've seen this my whole career. My whole career, I've seen these operations. And I basically, oh, okay, you're with that group, right? You're with that group. But you're working along with me, and I have to like work with you. Okay. And you're working with me to accomplish what the mission is of the CIA, or the mission is of the SEAL military, and so on and on. But there's these different factions, right? I've seen them throughout time. And a lot of them within the red hat, I would say military side, many of them are retired, or they were in units, and for whatever reason, they didn't quite work out well in those units. And so this red hat group, said, come over here. We'll take you in. We'll give you some good missions, and you don't have to worry about, not fitting in anymore in the other, in the the visible group, right? So now you're going to be part of this invisible group. And just like I was at SEAL Team 6 and in the CIA, I was part of invisible groups, right? Now, I was a SEAL for many years, and then I went to SEAL Team 6, and I became invisible to the regular SEAL teams, because you have completely different groups you work with. Everything's more high speed, all right? Everybody wants to go to that because it's more high speed. Now, the red hats are like that. The red hats on both sides, whether it's white hat or black hat, they each have very high speed stuff, right? Very high tech stuff. And they use that for their side, right? To either take down people on one side or another, right? Just like when we took down Osama bin Laden, right? So I was part of the good guy side. Now, Osama bin Laden was part of, think about it, he was part of the black hat, red hat team. See how this works? So I'm going to continually teach you guys over time how this works. So now there were elements within the CIA that were good, like myself, that helped find him. And there were elements within the military, SEAL Team 6, which helped to take him out. Now, remember that crash that happened with the SEAL Team 6 guys in Afghanistan not too long after the Osama bin Laden takedown? That was payback for the white hats, red hats, taking down their boy, black hat, red hat boy, Osama bin Laden. So they went after the good guys in SEAL Team 6 and crashed that helo. That was payback. It's like, oh, you want to F around and find out? That's what they did, guys. That's how this is bad games. A lot of you guys don't know these games. I do. I'm trying to teach you. So you have the knowledge, you have that shield, so their fear and games don't affect you. you stay true. And like the Nika riots, you're very committed. Got to slaughter that shit. All right. However that happens. All right. However that happens, it has to go. All right. That's part of the black hat, red hat team. All those people that are going to be part of those riots that are coming, that's their team. Whether they know they're part of that team or not, it doesn't matter, guys. They're incorporated into that team. Some of them on a higher level are completely knowledgeable of what they're doing, how they're impacting people. Some people are just dumbed down from kids, right? They're taught stupid and they just are perfect for that role, right? And they don't know that they're in a role that's really destroying America. They think they're making America better. They hate MAGA. They hate making America great again because they burn American flags because they think, we're the problem. That we make America great, and they give them a great place to live, and they resent it. It's stupid the way they think. We know that. But we can't let them have power over us anymore. It has to stop. The Nika riots, they have to stop there. They have to stop with this coming No Kings bullshit. Stop. You have No Kings get together? Oh yeah, you guys get together. How many of you? 1,000 of you? Get 1,000 places where we can store these assholes, right? And when they're least expected, arrest all of them. Boom. 10,000. I don't give a shit. 10,000, 100,000, arrest the whole friggin' group of them, all right? Got to be done. Got to be done. All right. Now, let's go into all of the make-believe that's going on out there and try and educate you guys on how to see, which side is doing what. So you can see who's the good guys and who's the people that need to go away. All right. Who needs to go away? We have a lot. We can't play with these people anymore, guys. All right, so horrifying moment captures Charlie Kirk's assassination. Still people believe, Charlie Kirk was killed. It's okay. It's okay. All right. But I'm gonna give you some information to help you see, maybe break free, because your mind wants to make things fit. You have fear, you have anger, and you want to make things fit a certain way. All right. All right. So that is not blood. First of all, blood does not react that way. And when you get shot by a big caliber bullet, 30-06, that would have blown his head off, not made a little hole, and there's no exit wound. All right. So there you go. You see that. When I saw that, I'm like, well, then now let's see what else is going on, because I know that's bullshit. All right. So who would do this? And I'm thinking. And I'm like, okay, this is probably a red hat for the white hats, red hat operation for the white hats, because we saw how beautiful things happen. We saw, the people got together. We had that stadium that was, some people say it was reserved 4 months, or regardless of however long it was reserved, or whenever they got it, it happened fast, right? Everything happened fast. Everything was planned, obviously, right? So there's so many anomalies. I can't go into all of them, but I'm going to just go into a few. From that point there, you should be okay. He was not shot. Whoever that is, whatever that is, if it's a hologram, if it's real, I think it's real. Or maybe some hologram stuff in there. I don't know. But the way everybody moved before and after, it's basically, it was a planned event. It's a red hat, good guy, white hat, planned event, guys. And it either Charlie Kirk was killed by the black hats, and which I don't think he was. I think he's still alive. I think he's within the red hats now, right? He's in the red hats, back in the background, still doing his stuff, right? So let's look at a little bit more of this. I'm gonna pull this up to a minute. At the 1 minute mark. Now, I'm not going to go into all the little details. Now, you guys, you're going to see people, they don't react to a gunshot. Now, when JFK was shot, everybody pointed to the grassy knoll and the picket fence behind which James Files shot from. And police officer on his motorcycle went up there. People looked in that direction. There were shots coming all over the place. So people were looking, they were hearing shots all over. But that one shot, the people that are around there, they turned and looked. No one turns and looks at the guy that shot supposedly from the roof. All right. So lots of clues that this is not what it seems. Now I'm gonna zoom in on his neck, and you're gonna see a flash on his neck. A bullet doesn't create an electrical flash, right? It doesn't happen. A bullet just goes in and blows blood and muscle and bone all over the place, right? Which this one would have done if it really had hit him. So watch his neck. Watch the flash. See that flash? That's a flash. That's not a bullet going into the neck and blowing out the back of his neck. And he would have like turned the other way if he had been shot. So let's look at it again. Right there. Focus right there.
Counting gang violence. Great.
See the flash? That's a squib going off that dumps all that fake blood. That like red pudding stuff, right? Now from the neck, all right, you have the carotid and the what's the other one? Carotid artery and the another big one. So anyway, you have two big ones there. So there's a lot of blood coming from the lungs. So you have a lot of oxygen going to the brain. So I don't know, maybe I don't have enough oxygen going to my brain. So I can't remember all this stuff. So anyway, when it hit that, it should have, under pressure, it should have sprayed like the crazy hose that you would see, like when you have water in a hose and the hose bursts and it sprays. That's what would have happened there, right? It wouldn't come out like chocolate pudding, right? So thick and just kept coming. It's like, wow, that's not natural, right? So, in any animal, anytime, any human in that condition, never, ever, right? So stop trying to make this fit. Stop yourself, right? Calm down, take a few breaths. Okay, now start to think, what is going on, right? What is going on? What's going on around here, right? So let's go back. 3's a germ.
Great.
All right. The squib went off. So the squib goes off, and then the chocolate pudding comes out, and he falls to the wrong side. Because if I punched you in the neck on that side, you would go the opposite way because the force. All right. You wouldn't fall into my punch. All right. So getting punched by a big round, you would have blown back across the other way. And that whole side of your neck would have been gone, and there would be blood splattered all over the place and blood spraying everywhere. So not so much. That didn't happen, guys. All right. So who could have put that together and done that? You just got to think. If it was the Black Hats, they would have like blown that up. Now they tried to blow it up. They had their comedians come on and talk about it, and they had all these other people come in and talk about it, but they were behind it. They were behind the 8 ball because it wasn't their operation. It'd been hijacked, just like it was hijacked for Trump. So all of those people that had, put options on President Trump's assassination on Monday were like, oh, no. We put in a put option, but it wasn't supposed to be for $1 million. And they got away with that? So if I put that in, I'd be like underwater, and they'd be like, yeah, you owe a lot of money. And so on 9/11, same thing. So those Black Hats that should have made a lot of money were scrambling, weren't they? Because it was a seized operation. Same thing with Charlie Kirk. All right. If I talk slow, maybe more people will understand. So if I'm talking slow and you're irritated because you're like, get to the point. So going back to, because, I weave this stuff in because that's what Trump does. That's what Juan O'Savin does, weaves it in. So go back to 9/11 and all those put options on the day that it happened, and somebody made a lot of money. The FBI knows who made all that money, but they haven't told us. They haven't told us. I think that's bullshit. That's because they know. Because if I did it, my name would be all over the place. Michael Jaco put in 1 million put options on United. How the hell did he know that? He made $1 billion. How could he have known? Everybody would be like, oh man, George Bush would have been, he's not with us. He's against us. Oh, shut up. Oh, whatever. So Black Hat, Red Hat operation. And, we had all those, the dancing, what was it? Dancing Muslims or something? Dancing Arabs, but they were Israeli. Now, they're trying to tie in the Israeli thing on Charlie Kirk. Candace Owens, what's going on there? So I'm just watching that. I don't feel that so much, but it is out there, right? It is out there for us to look at it and go, So I don't know. They have been an issue in the past, but are they this time? Now we have the Gaza situation. President Trump did get the peace Nobel Peace Prize because he's like stopped. I mean, like, isn't that his like 100th thing that he stopped war? Something crazy. Maybe not that much, but he's done a lot. And of course, they gave it to a Venezuelan woman that is, having people march for peace in Venezuela. That's a good thing. Now, she was really cool, and she basically dedicated it to President Trump. And why? Because he's coming in firm, like the Nika riots. He's coming in firm on Venezuela, and he could flip Venezuela. Now, President Trump getting peace in Gaza. Still got an issue with Iran. Still got an issue with Iran. That's got to be fixed. I've been in the Middle East, guys. Where did most of the terrorism and the problems come from? Iran. I'm an expert. I've been there. I know. Iran is the problem. Not all of Iran, not all of the Iranian people. The government, the Nazi government of Iran has to be replaced. Just like the Venezuelan government has to be replaced. Now, you can exert pressure the way Donald Trump is in the cities and on Iran and on Israel and on Venezuela. He's got all these Marines landing all around, all these ships, fire missiles, and boats, narcotic boats burning up in the middle of the water. Putting pressure on them, squeezing them, right? Cutting off their funding, all of them, cutting off their funding. Ukraine, cutting off the funding, drying it up, right? So that's good. So we're seeing that. So that's a white hats are doing well against the black hats right now. But the black hats are going to use their red hats to cause some problems, cause issues. And that's going to be the No Kings riots. And it has to be crushed. It has to be ruthlessly and hammer time crushed. Ruthless. We're starting to see it with some of these Antifa and even the police. Remember, maybe you don't, but I was coming out, I was saying when in Chicago, where the ICE guys, they had 10 cars, like box them in, and somebody got out with a gun. Now they're saying that she had a gun in her purse, a handgun in her purse. Like, God, these guys lie. So anyway, supposedly she came out with a gun and they shot back, and she got wounded. And then she went to the hospital. She took herself to the hospital because they couldn't get at her because they're like trying to survive. During that time frame, the Chicago police were told to stand down and not help them. And I said, Chicago police, don't help them. And now the Chicago police are like defying orders. We need more of that in these deep state cities. Good people define the deep state. So we have Chicago police now that are basically going against the rioters. Yay. Right? So I like that. That we can say, you don't want to help, then we're not going to help you. And they're like, oh hell no. We want to be part of the team. You know, that those guys, screw those guys. So good job. That's what we want. All right. So we're going to talk smack. If they don't get online, then they don't get helped, and then they go away. Right. Now I like how I say that about Chicago guys. Good job. So there's some good blood in Chicago. I can say that about California, and Californians were like, shut up, Mike. Like, what? Shut up what? Get your ass out there and get to work. Not a lot of hope for California. All right, so California, all the cities destroyed, right? And then good people will come in and rebuild, right? So is that going to happen for Chicago? Very good chance, but we are getting some good help from at least some of those police. Hoo-yah. Hoo-yah. All right, so now maybe that's why when I look at all my views, Chicago is one of the biggest viewers. Maybe Chicagoans really want to kick ass. They don't want Nikita riots. All right. So they're going to take care of business themselves. I love that. People, right? So we're going to continue to see good with go forward, and then we're going to continue to see bullshit from people that are in positions of power, right? Now, you guys are like, oh, Mike, that was real. What happened with Charlie and his wife and his children? You don't know what you're talking about. All right, so let's look at some things. Let's look at what's out there recent. So these are the recent things that are coming out, but this has been a long time. And I'm going to loop it back to 9/11 because we're learning about this stuff a lot faster now. Robin Williams' daughter slams AI videos of her late dad. So we've been talking about this for a while, how like some of this stuff with, Biden, and because that was not Biden. Biden was taken out before he ever made it to the White House. Never made it to the White House, right? All right. So we saw a lot of AI. We saw AI with Osama bin Laden. There were AI stuff on Osama bin Laden, actors, just like with Biden. So a lot of these people, there's actors and AI. Watch this.
Never said this or this.
Somewhere in heaven, there's a booking agent going, he's available Thursday, but only as a hologram.
This isn't him either.
Welcome back to the Cloud9 podcast.
They're all fake. To casual viewers, they might seem funny or even inspiring. But Robin Williams' youngest daughter, Zelda, isn't laughing, pleading on social media for people to stop making and sending her these clips. If you've got any decency, just stop doing this to him and to me, to everyone even, she writes. It's dumb. It's a waste of time and energy. And believe me, it's not what he'd want. Robin Williams died by suicide in 2014 after.
Yeah. He died by suicide. Yeah. He was suicided. All right. So, and I'm not laughing about that. And was he really suicided, or did he go into Valhalla? Right. So, I don't know where Charlie Kirk and so many others have gone. Right now, this AI stuff is not something new, guys. I was pointing this out long ago, back during 9/11. So we're looking at almost a quarter century. Been talking about this. I didn't understand it. I didn't know how it was, but I'm like, there's something wrong about that plane just disappeared into that building. It just disappeared in the building, and then it blew up on the other side. Wow. So it's like seeing Charlie Kirk get shot in the neck and nothing coming out the back and black pudding coming out of his neck, and then seeing the squib blow and all those SEALs, former SEALs all around him, moving him. Red hats. All right, so let's look at a black hat operation. Black hat, red hat. So the red hats are the ones that have put all this stuff together and create this facade and brainwash people. Because remember how we would see the planes going into the buildings over and over and over again. I'm like, it's not real. It's not real. I kept saying it, and people didn't like it because there's so many other people that were like brainwashed by it. And it's like, so a lot of people are like, it's a plane. They said it's a plane. Yeah, my whole family. I saw it. You didn't see it. You saw a hologram. You didn't see a plane crash in there. So let's look at that plane disappearing into that building. Look at that wing. Just doesn't look right, does it? Now that we know CGI and special effects a lot more, that wing kind of just disappears over there. And disappears a little bit more, and disappears a little bit more, and then the fuselage disappears, then it disappears some more, and just disappears. Just disappears. Now, when you see that now, do you still believe it? How many of you still believe that? How many? How many still believe that? Huh? How many? Come on. I don't see anybody saying anything. Jugular. Thank you, James Ryan. Jugular. Yeah. So carotid and the jugular. How many people believe that that plane crashed in that building? And if you do,
better not cry, better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming. You better watch out, you better not cry.
because you still believe in Santa Claus too, don't you? Hey, you know, if you still believe that the planes crash in the building, it's okay. You still believe in Santa Claus? I did it one time. I believed in Santa Claus too one time. Yeah, they taught us how to believe in bullshit early on, didn't they? Brainwashing us from the beginning. And you know, that Easter Bunny and God, so much bullshit. They brainwash our kids from an early start. And so it's much easier. It's much easier when they get older to brainwash them. Right. So once you see it, can't unsee it. All right. So, you know, I've been talking about the problems with earthquake activity and so forth, how I believe it's coming. And part of that is because kind of like that Nika riot thing. So, and in 2012, December 2012, we were supposed to like basically have major earth change activity, and it got delayed. It got delayed so more people could wake up. Right. So now we're at that point again where these earth changes are about to happen. So we're seeing a massive uptick in earthquakes, moving very rapidly into some what's going to be very catastrophic, I believe, events. Now, can they be reversed? Absolutely. We haven't seen hurricanes hitting, have we? All right. So very unusual activity this year with those huge hurricanes that just I think for probably the first time. I mean, we have one or two that, you know, curve out to the Atlantic, but every one of them, wow, that's amazing, right? Part, I believe, consciousness, part deep state, having their weapon systems basically compromised by the white hats, right? So the Columbia River. Now, when I was a very young man, hard hat diver, before I was 20 years old, I remember my sub-rescue ship, converted ocean-going tug. We went up the Columbia River to the Portland Rose Festival, most beautiful city in America at the time. And Mount St. Helens had been erupting. And so it erupted some more with ash. I remember I was at a bar one night and we came out and there was like ash falling. Well, that ash went into the Columbia River and our ship couldn't sail back down to the Pacific Ocean because there were some areas that were clogged up by all the ash. And so we were very happy because we got to stay in beautiful Portland. Now, would I like to do that now? Absolutely. That's a hellhole. That would be like, why are you saying it? Did we do something wrong? What happened? So the Columbia River, very strange things are happening.
Unthinkable has shaken that sense of permanence. In August 2025, instruments and eyewitnesses confirmed the river's current suddenly reversed direction. Barges rocked as if caught in a storm. Fishermen stood stunned as waves surged upstream instead of down, and satellites captured the eerie sight of ripples racing the wrong way across one of America's most iconic rivers. What could cause such a phenomenon? Experts scrambled for explanations. Some pointed to unusual atmospheric rivers, massive storms dumping torrential rains into tributaries that overwhelmed normal flow. Others suspected seafloor pressure changes along the Pacific, where tectonic forces might have subtly lifted ocean levels, shoving water inland. A few whispered about something even darker: seismic shifts deep in the Cascadia subduction zone, the same fault capable.
So little subtle things like Charlie Kirk's neck billowing out black pudding instead of bright red blood, oxygenated blood from the lungs, which is right next to it, next to the jugular and the carotid. Thank you, sir. So, little things, little whispers of problems coming. All right. You pay attention or you just blow it off. Right. So now big earthquakes have pushed water up the Columbia River, and the Indians have given tales. The American Indians of that area have given have tales, you know, where they pass, you know, down to their next generation, tales, right? Histories where the water reversed and caused flooding deep up the Columbia River, way up, right? So what would cause that? Well, when they did, they looked at the plant life and so forth, they can see the trees were ripped as if something like a tsunami had happened. And they found that, oh, these happen every 100, 120 years or so. And almost like on cue. And they can look back and see all that from the past. Well, guess what? We're overdue. We're overdue. And then you got the Columbia River reversing, and you have a volcano out on the Cascadia that's erupting with seismic activity all over the place and massive seismic activity all around the globe. I don't know. I'm glad I'm way inland, high up. So, liquefaction. That's right. So some of you guys know this stuff. Done your homework. Did you learn that in school? Probably not. But maybe if you were a geologist, you went through you know, all that schooling to learn all that stuff. I wanted to do that one time. But I was like, nah, I can learn that stuff better on my own. I just do my own research and become a Navy SEAL. Otherwise, I'll probably be a football player and professional football player. And that's not as cool as a Navy SEAL. It's amazing how life takes you in certain directions, right? So Muslims attempt to murder Belgium prime minister. All right, so this happened yesterday. So the Islamists that have been invited into all of these countries to basically replace the citizens of those countries by the European Union. So when I was in, I can't say where, but I was in countries with the CIA, and we actually discovered through some of our sources that used to go around Islamist, and they discovered that there was going to be a king and a prime minister that were going to be assassinated. And we relayed that information, and then the basically the chief of station, COS of the place that where I was at the time, got massive awards from back in Virginia. So very, very good. So there are good people out there doing good things, but evidently that's not happening anymore. All right. So now, again, who would do this? Black hats with their red hats. So who possibly gave them a heads up? White hats on the red hat side, right? And maybe the red hats stopped it out, or maybe the white hats just informed them. I don't know. But regardless, they stopped out what probably would have been the Belgian prime minister being killed, right? So like I said, part of the work that I did was expose some of the stuff and keep some of these people alive so that they could, I guess, bring in all these Muslim types and, get themselves killed by them. Nika riots, right? Nika riots happening in a lot of these countries. All right. So the other things, yesterday I went pretty deep into the stock market sell-off. So if it's a certain percentage that happens on a certain day, it's a crash. Now over a long period of days and weeks and months, a crash is more like a 25, 30% pullback, But on a daily basis, you can have crashes. And we had a crash on Friday. So President Trump came out and said 100% tariffs on China. And we found out that China is playing some games, right? China's playing some games. We got a lot of Chinese here in America. And weren't the Chinese involved in the 2020 election? And didn't that bioweapon come from China? And there's some problems with China, guys. And Trump's on to them, right? So be heads up. We might have some problems going forward. But the stock market took a little dive. Now, I think Monday, the banks are closed or something. So let's listen to this one. And we'll play this one. And then Tuesday, they open. So we may see more of a downturn potentially in the next couple of days, more of a sell-off. Or we may get some dip buyers. But I think it's a dead cat bounce. If the stock market goes up, it's a dead cat bounce. I said 2 weeks ago that we're probably going to see a 30% pullback. And guess who else just recently came out and said that? Anybody? Right? It's hard to guess these, but Jamie Dimon says there's a 30% chance of a correction. And he said that, when was it? Wednesday? October 9th. What was that? Is that Wednesday or was that Friday? It was Thursday. So he said it on Thursday, and whoa, the next day the stock market crashes. All right. So there's a 30% chance of a correction. I'm far more worried than others. And he says it's probably closer than usual. He says dip buyers showed their teeth again on Wednesday, scooping up sold off tech stocks. So there was a little bit of sell off on Tuesday, I think, in particular after NVIDIA CEO, blah, blah, blah. NVIDIA sold off massively on Friday. So whatever NVIDIA CEO said didn't mean anything come Friday. But simmering doubts over how much AI can keep pushing the market. Like I've said, AI is like the dot-com bust, guys. It's going to be the dot-com bust. Now, I think we're going to have a 30% pullback. And then after it cleans up some, remember I talk about how there's gaps in the market that have to be filled. That's always the way it works. Whether it's going to be a crash that fills them or whether it's a pullback, a healthy pullback, and then another takeoff, which I think is coming. So don't get too freaked out. But it could be, this could be it. I don't know. Or it could just go up tomorrow or on Monday and just keep going up again. I don't know. But my feeling is, like Jamie Dimon's, is we're going to see a 30% correction, right? So if the market is pricing in 10%, he said, I would say it's more like 30%. So the market's already been pricing in 10% coming. And now we're seeing a massive takeoff.
Little did anybody know that Friday night, President Trump would drop a bombshell on the world that said equity futures crashing and trigger a crypto Armageddon. And get this, we saw 1.6 million accounts completely liquidated. We're talking $19 billion evaporated within minutes. And what we're facing here is a rare earth hostile letter. That's what Trump's angry about. And it's not just China slapping back. They're about to idle American factories here. They're going to put hundreds of thousands of Americans on the unemployment line and potentially even send inflation surging at the worst possible time. Now, I warned you about rotating into the dollar, and my subscribers, they're cashing in big because they got stopped out of their equity longs ahead of the move on Friday. We're already in long dollar, short euro, and even treasury positions here. Now it's not too late because come Monday, there are more liquidations are likely to happen. Tuesday, the banks reopen. Watch out for what happens then. Now let's take a look at China's aggressive.
All right. So Stephen Van Meter really on top of whenever the market really goes down, he's on it. He's really good on that, like I am. So yes, Gail, silver hit over 50. Silver pulled back because there was massive shorting positions and so forth that were being hammered. I think that we could see silver really take off now, right? If there's going to be this 30% pullback that I'm believing is going to happen, but it might not. So don't invest from what I'm saying, but just be aware, look around, be aware. So if that happens and we get a little bit of a pullback on silver, I think it's really then going to really release. So Friday, when everything sold off, the dollar, crypto, now crypto was really hammered. I watched it for an hour and it was mesmerizing how much it sold off within an hour. It was catastrophic looking. Now, what would cause it to, go down at that rate? Well, some of it could be, which I think happened, is a lot of people have their stuff on margin. So if there's a margin call, which I think did happen on Friday, I'm sure it did, because when the stock market goes down like that, they do margin calls. And a margin call is basically you're using, like, let's say you have 50% of your stock or crypto that you have money on it, and the other 50% that you bought is on margin. And I'm just using an example. And then they come in, the market starts going down. So that means there's not as much money that's covering the asset because it's going down. So they do what's called margin call, and you need to put in more money to cover what's, the difference. And if you're not there to do that, then they sell your stuff and to cover that margin. And that often happens in big market drops like that. So they just start selling stock and crypto and so forth, and it really drives that price down on a massive level. Now, I want to show you guys, and I think I showed you guys some of this yesterday, but I want to show you how much XRP went down on Friday. I was like, wow, it was like over 50%. Now, the reason why I want to show you that, and looks like XRP is down a little bit more today, but the reason why I want to show you that is I want to show you, because I've been telling you guys, you better be in silver, and you better start taking some of your stuff out of the stock market, put in silver, right? If it's a 401k and you're 59 and a half, get with Dr. Kirk Elliott, and he can help you get your some of your portfolio into silver. If you have other retirement accounts, IRAs and so forth, you can put some of that into silver depository. I recommend depository, depending on how much you got. If you're pretty healthy, retirement, you should have it in a depository. And I think you have to, if you have a retirement account, you have to put it in a depository. You can't hold it, right? So let's look at, and those of you that have extra money, you should be putting it into silver, right? Now look at that. That's XRP. All right, this is a 1 hour chart here for Friday. Now it started up here. It was like 284. What was it the day before? It was at it was like $3 on like maybe Monday or something like that. It was 304, 308. So it went all the way down to 138 from 308. All right. That's what is that? 60, almost 70% or something crazy in a few hours. So if you're at work doing whatever you're doing, you're out skiing or you're like playing whatever you're doing, or you're working hard and somebody says the stock market's crashing, and you go look and your portfolio with your XRP is now almost wiped out. This is coming. This is coming, right? And it can happen that fast within hours. And if you're not on it, or if you don't have stop losses or whatever, a stop loss is basically where, let's say, you don't want to lose more than a certain amount. And this can be a problem too, because you can do a stop loss. Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jacob with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. It's pretty sunny right now, so the sun, as it goes down, just like hits that sweet spot that makes it a little tough over here. But I'd like to get that background in there. So I think I'm going to try and maybe take it outside one of these shows and see if I can find a spot out there where the sun gets blocked by that big tree right there you see behind me. So the good, the bad, and the ugly. All right. So we know who they are. We know who they are. The good, the white hats, President Trump, myself, of course. And the red hats, well, that's the guys that are like the old neocons that feel that they have to like start a fight. They have to kick some ass, right? And we don't know. Maybe we're going to need them. All right. So, the coming crisis it's not coming. It's already happening in our major cities. So we could probably look at them as the red hats, the ones that are going to have to kick some ass, right? So, and then we have the ugly, right? The Luciferians, the liberals, the Democrats, the rhinos. Yeah, we know who they are. All right, the Soros, and then all the people that fund all of this nonsense, right? The deep state actors. So yeah, now why did I want to bring this up? So I had a dream, not like Martin Luther King's dream, but I had a dream last night where I was involved in all of these different groups, right? So here I am, I'm trying to bring out the love vibration, wake people up. Now, obviously the black hats, who want to start a civil war, they want to do everything and anything they can to stay in power. And what they have done throughout thousands of years is to start wars. All right. So they wanted to pick a fight with Russia, start a nuclear war with Russia. That didn't work. So they tried to start a nuclear war with China. That didn't work. So, they were just like, okay, let's pick a fight with the Americans because they're the only ones that are awake and have guns. Right. So that's not so smart either, as they're going to find out. So that's kind of where we're at. And in my dream, I was waking people up. And so I was, under attack by the Luciferians, the black hats. And then I was surprised because I was under attack at certain times by the red hats, because the red hats they feel like, hey, stop trying to wake these effers up. Let's just kick their ass. I was like, no, we have to wake as many up as we can. Now, I believe that's what President Trump, and this was in my dream as well, really wants. He wants to wake up as many people as possible. He is putting before us all of the bad actors so that everybody can see who they are, and just pushing them back out into the front. all of the people that push the vaccine. He brings them in, and that helped steal elections. He brings them in. It's like, oh, let's come on in. Let's sit down at the table here. Let's work together. Let's work together. So, are they going to work together? I don't know. They're black hats, Luciferians. Maybe they can be woken. They can be awakened, and they can start to do the right thing. I don't know. I think a lot of them have done such incredibly evil things that they have to stand trial. And in some cases, I believe that's already happened. But we're going to see a lot of them, black hat types, start to be taken down. Now, we're seeing that now, of course, with Comey, and today, I guess, Letitia James. We're talking about that. So, because that's up in the air. That's up in the air, all of that, as you guys are going to see. Trump appointed someone that's kind of on shaky ground. And if she's on shaky ground, calling in all these, criminal all these criminal activities, they could be dismissed because these people aren't in positions where they actually have that position. Because we know that the liberal Congress and the rhinos, right, the red hats, are dragging their feet and not appointing people. It's just one of the worst times ever, I think, for appointing people. And with this shutdown, I guess they did 107. That nice number, Juan sent me that, where they basically legislated 107 appointments through very quick, because the Democrats are on shaky ground right now. And so the Republicans, the good Republicans, the white hat Republicans are pushing stuff through as fast as they can. All right, tribunals. There's that. So I think that on a certain level, we're seeing, the beginning stages of what's going to lead to tribunals. And it could be that, these people that he's appointing that are starting to drop off, unfortunately, like Alina Habada, I think that's her name, that was appointed in New Jersey. She wasn't confirmed, so she had to drop out. They have 120 days. There's another one in Nevada. She had to drop out 120 days. So if they're not appointed by the Senate, then they have to drop out, and there's no one has been appointed. So yeah, there's some serious problems with this Congress and Senate guys. They're dragging their feet on purpose, obviously. So the bad and the ugly. All right. So the bad and the ugly in the Congress and the Senate, as white hats like President Trump trying to make things happen. It's definitely what Real Raw News is. What 50% truth? It's sells itself as being like a humorous site. So I don't know. I would say maybe not even 50%. But are they leaking stuff? I don't know. So let's look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. All right. Of course, first we look at that old spaghetti western, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Right, with Clint Eastwood. All right. There's all the old photos, Lee Van Cleef, Eli Wallach, Clint Eastwood, right? That was one of my favorite movies back in the day. I love the spaghetti westerns. I watch them over and over again because, it was like, that's what I'm going to do when I grow up. I'm going to be the good guy, and I'm gonna knock out all the bad guys and take out the ugly guys, all right? The evil, right? So let's look at that song, if you can call it that. It's what? Some of you guys know what I'm talking about. So you see that shooting skill? That's what your boy can do. Right. 3 headshots in less than a second. So those guys that have the wheel guns, and the wheel guns are like, the guns, the 38 specials or 45s or whatever they are. They can be big bullets. 45 is a big bullet. And then 38's a big bullet too. And, it goes around. And when the hammer hits one, it loads the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one, until it's all done. So I've seen guys that shoot from the hip, and they like take their hand and on the where you cock it back, they hit that real fast, and they can like in seconds, in less than a second, they can hit multiple targets, just like you saw in that scene. That's real. There's people that have that skill, like your boy. Right? I don't have it with a wheel gun. I have it with a regular gun, but I can shoot fast. I've learned some good skills over time. So it is one of those things that, the red hats, they want to go out and take out the ugly, right? The bad hats, or the bad, the red hats, bad, or the red hats, or whatever. So, wah, wah, wah. So it's called, it came out in 1966. It's a spaghetti Western. They have all the Italian directors and everything. And then, over time, some of these, you would watch them and the lips don't match because they're speaking in Italian, and they dubbed English. So here are these Westerns that were in America, right? The Old West. And these gunslingers that were basically, I guess the Italians liked it. They liked it like I like it, and it's pretty cool. So there was one called Trinity, and Trinity is still my name. My name is Trinity. All right, Trinity, like the good, the bad, and the ugly. Sound familiar in religion too? Right. So let's watch this one. This one's a really good one. This was one of my favorite. I remember back when we used to go to the theater, and for less than $1, you could watch a movie, have popcorn and a drink, right? My mom told me that when she was a little girl, she and her sister would get on the bus, go downtown in Columbia, and for 25 cents, they'd get a bus ride, watch a movie, and get popcorn and soda. I was like, you did that for 25 cents? And then, of course, I was doing it for $1 by myself. And I thought, well, that's inflation like crazy. So I learned about inflation a long time ago. And, of course, I'm a silver guy. I'm a silver guy because I know about inflation. I learned it very early in life. And, of course, silver popped today, popped very high. There's some kind of rumor out there that Xi, the president of China, had a heart attack. So silver went way up, and I think 51, over 51 at some point. Now on the COMEX, it didn't pass 50. It hit 49.96.5, right? So I don't know what other changes, but people were saying, some people were sharing with me, and Dr. Kirk Elliott, who I go with, he put out a video today, and he talked about how it went up to 51 today. So silver's just itching to go higher, like Trinity here. He's just itching to show the ugly. So watch this. I love this scene. This is like the most amazing scene in history, cinematic history, right? It's probably speeded up back when people didn't know about that, but they look at this scene. Watch this scene. This is great.
When the lead hits you, it'll hurt less.
Now watch their lips, and it doesn't match. So spaghetti Western.
A little whiskey in your gut.
Oh, yeah. Give the gentleman a double. That way you won't feel a thing.
So this is the old gunslinger standoff right there in the bar. Right? And this was cool because he had a buddy. He was like a big bear of a man, and he would punch somebody and knock him right out. So there's a scene in here where he punches these two guys. You can hear it. Their heads hit the table. Bumble. And look over, and he's always grumpy. He's like, hurry up, get it over with. And so now when I taught the hand-to-hand course, I learned how to hit like that. I could knock two guys out at the same time. So I didn't do it, but they had face shields on and everything. But I remember one guy that I hit, and he was a martial artist for most of his life. And he said, I have never been hit that hard in my life. It's a good thing I had that shield on, or otherwise it would have been flying across the room unconscious. So no, it's like the bad in the room. So here's the ugly here. He's the head guy. So he's challenging Trinity. And he's like getting slapped. He's like drawing his gun, slapping him, put his gun reholstering, draw it back out of his holster, slapping him. And this guy can't even move fast enough. So and watch for the psych. He psychs him. All right. So that's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Mike's dreams. All right. So let's look at it on the bigger picture. Let's look at the Trinity. The unity of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit as three persons in one Godhead according to Christian dogma. So you have, the Trinity. So you have the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? So how does that work in the Trinity? So I kind of looked at it and I'm like, let's say the Father, he's basically the protector. And if you get out of line, you're going to die, right? So that's the Old Testament, right? So, and does it mean it won't happen now, right? So Luciferians, the Father could slap you and pull out the gun before you can blink, and then boom, you're gone. Right? Or there's going to be all these rumors of wars and earthquakes and all that kind of stuff. So there's very possibly some of the ugly are going to get taken out, right? So that's kind of way I'm looking at that. The Son, the Savior of mankind. That could be, I'm not going to call them bad, but it could be the red hats, right? And then, of course, the Holy Spirit, the preserver, right, of the church. And so that would be the good. So I think the good, the Holy Spirit, that transcends all things, that moves through all things, even the baddies, even the uglies, right? That's good. And of course, you religious fanatics out there are going to blow this up. You're going to scream and yell, but that's okay because, those of us that are white hats are going to help you too. Right. So don't worry. So that's what I'm looking at now. This goes through, you look at the Hinduism, they have the three faces, right? And they have Brahma is the creator. And the creator could be, I guess, God-like, and Vishnu, preserver, Jesus-like, and then Shiva, the destroyer. So that's the evil, right? The ugly, the evil side. Brahma is, the creator of all things. That would be like a white hat. And then Vishnu, the bad, preserver. So the preserver has to go in and sometimes has to kick some ass, right? So, I can be an ass kicker. I like being a white hat and waking people up like I do. But if I have to put my gun on like Trinity there and start slapping and shooting, I could do that too. All right. Or like Clint, three taken out in less than a second. So imagine me moving through a room of baddies, right? They're all like, what? And they're all gone. It's like, what? They don't, it's done. Right. So that's what the destroyer is like. Right. So the red hats, the bad. So I think that Trump has his bad. He's got his bad guys, you know, and they're not bad like evil bad. They're like, we need to kick some ass. That's true, and sometimes we do, and I think it is happening. We're definitely seeing it in a lot of these cities like Portland, like Chicago, LA, Boston. I think is coming. Boston is getting really bad. Boston could be one of the ones that's coming. Boston is one of the cities I see that will be destroyed. I see Chicago, New York City, LA, Chicago. I saw Houston destroyed. I don't know how Houston's going to fit into this, but I saw that Houston at one time was thinking about allowing the Zionists. The Zionists went to Israel and they're like, oh, we have the right to be here. And so we have the modern state of Israel, but that was going to be in Houston. And then they're like, maybe not. And then they were going to go to Ukraine. Of course they were going to go to Ukraine because that's the place where the Khazar Mafia started. So why not go there? And even the Ukrainians are like, nah. And even in Africa, and the Africans were like, nah, I don't think so. So, and then there's like, well, let's go to Palestine. They're just a bunch of farmers. They won't fight. Right? They're like the Californians. They won't fight. Yeah. I laugh at you Californians because you always talk smack, but you never do anything. Right. So that's why I don't live there anymore. Dominion voting system sold to Liberty Vote from Missouri. All right, so this is moving in the right direction. This is definitely white hat movements happening, guys. So the Dominion voting systems was sold to Missouri No Inc., based in St. Louis, run by a former Republican election official. Wowzer, right? Democrats, the ugly. They don't stand a very good chance now. A release said Liberty Vote is committed to domestic staffing and software development, leveraging hand-marked paper ballots that enable compliance with President Trump's executive order on paper ballots, incorporating rigorous third-party auditing standards, and designing simplified, transparent systems. The ugly, they're gone. They're gone. They're going to be gone overnight. Oh, my God. That's crazy. Now, of course, the Democrats, the ugly, will definitely push back on that. They will definitely push back on that. Because, there's a lot of ugly that are coming to the light. And the uglies don't like that. So they're desperate to keep what they got. And we're going to see some red hats, some bad, right? Some bad act. I don't call them bad actors because, the bad, they're kind of like in between, back in the day, I could move within the ugly ranks and then take them out, right? If need be. So that has happened. So I've been involved in taking out a lot of baddies, uglies, right? But I had to be in that bad mode, right? So I can move in and out. I will never, ever be an ugly. Right? That's not part of my my makeup, right? My soul makeup is not designed to do that at all, right? So for me, it's been a commitment, a lifelong commitment, even as a little boy, to dream of taking out the ugly. Right? I used to dream about being like Patton and all those guys. So it is moving that direction. So the bad, the red hats, there is a need for them. So we can't, because I've had a problem with the bad, right? The real bad, right? They're the rhinos and all that stuff. They're bad to the point where they're just like almost ugly, right? So they don't count. But the bad in regards to, hey, I'm trying to push things to the white, and the bad are like, No, they're like resisting. So I would say to the bad, don't resist the white. All right. Don't resist the love. All right. Because the bad think that they can't be in that love frequency and do what they need to do. I know a lot of you are like that. You say, I can't love someone that is pushed the vaccine, or someone that, did this or did that, or is like, like Gavin Newsom, or who you name, the problem governor, right now. There's lots of them. Or the problem mayors. You're like, I can't send them love, right? So then you're part of the bad. Then you're a bad, and you're part of that trinity, right? So ultimately, you want to move to the white hat, to the ultimate good, to the connection to ultimate source, right? You want to be peaceful. You see me, I'm always peaceful. I could, if need be, I could move towards that bad instantaneously in less than a blink of an eye, like that Trinity guy, right? I'll slap you out of existence, right? And take your soul, put it in my back pocket, and just keep going and not blink an eye. So there is that part of me, and that's, many of you can't comprehend. You're like really impressed with someone that can do that. It's not something that everybody can do, right? Most people are like, they're either in the bad, right? And would like to be good, but they're like, I just hate them so much. I can't go in that love vibration stuff. But we know that in that love vibration stuff, you're far more effective as a warrior. So when I moved into the good side, the connection to source, and started using that frequency to basically take out the bad, or not the bad, but the ugly, I was far more effective. I did not actually physically have to be in those areas where the ugly were. I can send love to uglies, which I have done, and they will cease to exist in this reality field, right? And it's not me that's doing that. I'm using that good frequency, good vibrations. So I use that good frequency vibration, that love energy, to basically do. And those guys that are the bad, that are like, great shots like I was in the past and still am, or could like take somebody out instantly without them like being able to realize they're done, they're gone. They're like to be, floating out of their body. They get too close to me. So, and they don't have to get too close to me either. If I know they're coming with guns, right? And on top of that, I know that they're coming for me. And so things are happening before they even get close to me. So that's ultimately where we all want to be. We all want to be in that good vibration, that love energy. And that love energy will protect us and will cause a cascading type of event that takes out the ugly. Now, the bad, in a way, they're kind of in the way because they're trying to influence President Trump that we need to do this. And he's like, he knows he needs them, worst case scenario, and he's using them now, I believe, in certain cases. But there are some people in that bad realm that are pretty bad, right? Almost evil, almost ugly, right? And I think they've tried to influence him on several occasions. And he's like, no, we're not going to do that, right? We're going to do this. So I see people that get frustrated with him being President Trump, and talk a lot of shit about him, right? Even people that should know better, but they see things and they don't understand the way things are moving. So let me give you another instance that just happened, right? And this will probably give you really good insight of the good and the bad. So Charlie Kirk was obviously good, all right? He was convincing a lot of people that have been basically captured in these universities by the ugly, the evil, right? And so he was moving in those realms, and they were like, they resist. It's kind of like they resist me when they took down my YouTube and a lot of other people's YouTube platforms and X and all that kind of stuff. So that's the evil side, the ugly side that is resisting. Now, with Charlie Kirk, he was moving in those environments. And like I've talked about, he was going in and stripping some of those ugly puppets and bringing them into the light, bringing them into good, right? So they were, I think they had planned to kill him. And that was it was a captured operation by the bad. So that's a good thing, right? So the good, bad, right? So there's good, there's good, bad, there's bad, bad, and there's bad, ugly, and then there's ugly, bad, and right, ugly, and ugly, ugly. So I mean, just pure evil. So see, there's layers of this. There's not just one or the other. You know, you're only good, or you're only bad, or you're only ugly, right? You can't be all one or the other. Yes, you can move within those. But I say if you go ugly, you stay ugly. Right? So kind of, yeah, you don't want to go ugly, right? You never go ugly, right? It's kind of like that. What was that one movie where the guy was playing? He was playing like a crazy. He was playing a crazy guy. God, which I should have like put this out because it's perfect what I'm talking about. And he's like, it's like the one guy that was like playing. I can't remember any of these actors' names right now. The one guy that was playing, maybe they'll pop into my mind in a minute. The one guy was playing like he was playing like he was a black guy, but as a white guy. Tropical Thunder. Yay, Willow Dreams, you rock. So Tropical Thunder, in that, the one actor is like he went full retard, and then the guy that was playing the black guy, you guys throwing some names that I help. So I'm not going to look it up. I'm trying to keep this flow going. So he's like, you never go full retard. Robert Downey Jr. Thank you. Aspen's Place. So, and who was the other actor he was talking about? So Robert Downey Jr. he was telling him, you never go full retard. And then he talks about all those actors that have been, you know, kind of retarded. Ben Stiller, yeah. So he's telling Ben Stiller, and they're like, you know, like in Vietnam, you know, there's like a movie scene, but it wasn't, and it's like it was pretty crazy. So great movie, right? It's another classic, I think. And and what was it? It was like full retard Mike or something, or not Mike, but something like that. And so it was like it was so funny. So anyway, let me pull it up. Anyway, I'll pull it up. Tropical Thunder. So you guys will see the scene. I'm not going to play the scene because I won't be able to, which is probably, I've already played some stuff in here and they're probably not going to allow me to have this video up. So here is Tropical Thunder. I'll share the screen. All right. So classic trailer. So it's like you never go full retard. So it's like, anyway, you never go full ugly, right? That's my point. It's a roundabout way. And it's funny because you know, I weave stuff in like that. It's kind of like Juan. He goes off on tangents and he weaves stuff in, and some of you guys get frustrated with him because he weaves stuff for a long time. Right? So, but Jack Black, yeah, Jack Black was great that movie too. Tropic Thunder, and yeah, and Robert Downey Jr. in blackface. That's right. Yeah. So, and then he was like, and I think you said like, and you men, kind of like, or you people, or something like that. And then the real black guy's like, what do you mean, you people? Like, oh my God, it was unbelievable. It was like, it was just destroying so many things. It was good. So, Tropic Thunder. And so they were weaving in a lot of stuff. They were exposing and making fun of a lot of stuff. And yeah, you got to love Juan. I mean, Juan weaves stuff. So anyway, so President Trump, he was on a show and they were talking to him and he's like, you know, you do that, you go off on tangents. And he's like, yeah, that's called the weave. And he says, I'll go off on a tangent to make a point, but I'll circle back. And then they're like laughing and they're like, well, what if you don't circle back? And it's like, then it's like a Biden. Then I'm like a Joe Biden. So I got to make sure I weave it back in. So he's like, goes off on tangents like I'm doing right now. And you weave it back in. Yeah. Big Trouble in Little China was a good one as well. So there's lots of movies out there basically exposing a lot of these, you know, ideas that people have about things, and they're just ridiculous, right? So let's go down and look at some of the things that are breaking. Letitia James, indicted by federal grand jury in Eastern District of Virginia. Now, remember, maybe a couple of weeks ago, if maybe even less time than that, President Trump was like, Pam Bondi, you need to like start cracking the whip here. You know, I want some indictments. And so he's like, you know, I shouldn't have been so hard on you. I need to get somebody in the Eastern District of Virginia. So he basically got somebody in there. And now we see Comey, and now we see Letitia James. It's kind of like, you know, New York, where we had all those, you know, the cases that were popping. So Trump is like settling score, isn't he? So James Comey, and then was like, you know, who's next? Well, Letitia James. Letitia James next. And of course, we have some other ones out there. And we can look at John Bolton. Now, John Bolton, I would say, is probably going to go down here pretty soon. So we got Letitia James, Adam Schiff. I think Adam Schiff could be going here pretty soon. So crazy, right? And who knows? And then maybe, I don't know, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Jack Smith. Jack Smith, I think, before Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. So we're seeing, you know, this stuff go down. But is it legit? Is it legit? Now, this is the thing. That's the problem. There's high expectations, and there's people that want to do the right thing, but trying to do the right thing in this environment, I think, is very tough. Now, here you see Lindsay Halligan. She looks like, I don't know, she was on Trump's staff, and, you know, Trump's got all the beautiful women around him. So he's like, hey, I'm going to hook you up. I'm going to make you, you know, your prosecutor over in Virginia. So U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan is on the defensive now because James Comey and his lawyers are saying she's not legit. She's not legit. She cannot acquit. Right? Comey's strategy, as outlined in court on Wednesday, will focus on attacking Halligan's authority as a U.S. attorney of the Eastern District of Virginia as part of efforts to convince the court to dismiss the charges against him. Now, is this going to lead to, you know, going down to Gitmo? You know, I don't know. I hope there's a plan here. I hope they're not all in bed together and there's like, we're going to make you look bad. And, you know, we said we do this. And so we're going to do this. And, you know, there's that. A lot of people were talking that. But I think there's a big plan. So Comey's defense attorneys are likely to argue that Halligan can't serve as interim U.S. attorney because that position hit its 120-day limit. So the same thing that I was talking about earlier of how Congress and the Senate are dragging their feet on appointments. And so that position has to be filled within 120 days, but it didn't get filled because these baddies, and some of them are ugly, that are in the Senate and the Congress are doing some bad, very evil things, right? So if it goes over the 120-day limit, there's I guess there's some kind of law about the vacancy, not being filled. So they put her in after that time frame. Now, another thing that they're looking at is she's never been a prosecutor, and I don't even think she's attorney. Right? So it's crazy. Halligan was serving in the White House and has never been a prosecutor. Right? She's just a pretty face at this point, right? So I don't know what's going on here, but I hope they have a plan, because I'd hate to have Comey being, put up because there was like a terminal thing on his case too. Because when he falsely testified before Congress, I guess there's a 5-year term, and if it goes past that, then they can't prosecute him. So they jump through hoops to get this in. And so if Congress or the Senate does approve her, then she can do the prosecution, is my understanding. But, I'm not a lawyer. So I've been in a courtrooms a few times, have done okay. Actually, I've done pretty good in courtrooms, yeah. So anyway, I've been in courts for other people too, and they've done really well. So you can go in there with the right attitude, not being intimidated, stick to your guns, and a lot of times you'll do well. I'd say I can't think of a time where I went into court and I didn't do well. I've always done well, and sometimes incredibly well. So, and I always went in with the attitude that I was like a lawyer, and I thought of myself as a lawyer and asked questions like a lawyer, and I talked to the judge like I was a lawyer, and the judge was impressed, and so I got off. It was crazy. It's crazy how that worked. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. So fake it till you make it, and I made it. I made it. Right. It seems highly doubtful that Lindsay Halligan has been validly appointed as United States Attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia. Wellen wrote in the National Review recently, if her appointment is invalid, so is her indictment of Comey. Wow. That would be a bummer. Right? So I guess Letitia James would be in the same category then. Now, there's another one that fits this bill as well. And this is Sigil Chattah, that's acting U.S. Attorney in Nevada. So they were like, she can't prosecute any cases either. So there's all these places where we need to take this deep state ugly down, and we have some bad people in positions, or maybe they're even ugly, that are resisting. So it's a little bit frustrating. So here is, I think she ran for U.S. Attorney General in Nevada in 22, and evidently didn't make it. So I don't know. Federal judge has disqualified Sigil Chattah, a Trump-appointed Nevada federal prosecutor, from overseeing several criminal cases. I don't know what those are, but I just saw her name mentioned along with the U.S. Attorney in Eastern Virginia. So, are they sticking people in there, and they realize they're not going to be able, or they're hoping they'll be able to get them, termed or put in power or whatever, and it didn't work out because they had people in Congress or the Senate that didn't do what they said they were going to do. I don't know. But to me, It's kind of like this video when you look at it.
Please go away. Let me sleep for the love of God.
All right, so
Please go away. Let me sleep for the love.
so I'm breaking all the YouTube laws, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Regardless, if it doesn't make it here, I'll put it over on Rumble. But it's very frustrating to see some of this stuff and see that there's potentially this stuff may not go through. So James Comey indicted today. Today he was indicted. And let me show you this. This is on Tucker Carlson News. So Tucker Carlson started his own news channel, TCN. Morning note. James Comey indicted. A grand jury indicted former FBI Director James Comey on Thursday, officially accusing him of lying to Congress and obstructing a congressional investigation. The case stems from a 2017 incident when Comey showed a friend 7 memos documenting his private conversations with President Trump. The friend, Columbia Law professor Daniel Reichman, then leaked their details to the New York Times, which led to the appointment of Robert Mueller. Comey told Congress that he did not authorize anyone to disclose the memos to the media 3 years later, stating, "I had no idea he was going to do that." Yeah. Donald Trump reacted to the news by blasting the Russia hoax, saying it placed a cloud over the entire nation and that it could have caused wars. Yeah, definitely. Could have caused wars. Russia was pretty pissed about that, being accused. And they were like, we didn't do that. We didn't do that. But of course, we have the evil that said he did. And then we have the press that's part of the evil that said that he did too. And so they kept pushing that. And then we have all those other people that kept pushing it. Some of those Congress people that probably are going to be on the list, on Halligan's list, right? In Eastern Virginia. I spent a lot of time in Virginia. It was good. In SEAL Team 6 and one of the other SEAL teams, SEAL Team 4. So it's very interesting to see, some of the stuff start to come up, and it could be non-admissible. So they may have to throw all this stuff out. That would be, boy, that would draw a lot of red flags, wouldn't it? All right, so here's Letitia. Letitia, she got charged in Virginia too, Eastern Virginia, indicted on fraud charge. New York Attorney General. So she's Attorney General in New York. Manhattan. Remember how they brought all those charges into Manhattan, where Trump was from? Wow, that must have sucked. Grew up your whole life, in Manhattan. Your family's from Manhattan. You build all those beautiful buildings in Manhattan, and then they come after you and with ridiculous charges. And of course, it's the Democrat Party that are doing money laundering through mortgage fraud. And she's the beginning of that disclosure. I think there's been others, but she's obviously the grand poobah of it right now. So here we go. James, who has previously denied wrongdoing, was being investigated for mortgage fraud after Federal Housing Finance Agency Chief Bill Pulte alleged earlier this year that she falsely described her Norfolk, Virginia home as a primary residence in order to secure a more favorable interest rate on a home mortgage loan. So it's pretty much a done deal. She did that. I'm amazed that they can continue with life and not get charged. And now here we are. We finally see her charged. And it may be that we're not going to be able to have her prosecuted because the person that's indicting her is not legitimately there, right? So in that position, holding that position, sad, very sad. All right, National Guard poised to enter Chicago as Trump calls for jailing Democratic leaders. All right, now, is he going to use Eastern Virginia to like bring them in? That would be interesting, right? So, why not? If it works, let's bring them all through there. So we got a federal court there that's, you know, kind of like Manhattan was, and like what was the other place? We had it down in Palm Beach or something. We had one down there, and then of course we had one in Georgia. So, hey, we're going to find our spots where we can do all these court cases too. You ugly people, evil people. So some 500 National Guards were deployed near Chicago on Wednesday on President Trump's orders, despite the objections of the Chicago mayor and Illinois governor. Now, the Chicago mayor, Brandon Johnson, was calling for ICE officers to be arrested. And I guess the police are like, screw you, asshole. So that's not happening. So, I mean, there's some, they're getting desperate, obviously. They're pushing the envelope, because they feel that they're and have been above the law, and that the law protects them, of course. And that's not, as we're seeing, the case. Right? As I'm getting, well, look at that sun. Looks pretty cool, right? Sunbeams. So I'm in the lights. I'm the white hat. Right? I'm the white hat. So if we continue to see, these people push back like this, we're probably going to see the insurrection order. I think he's already doing insurrection order. Just, I don't know if he can do it without like announcing it to the public, but it seems to me that that's been happening. Right? Is there some way we need Derek Johnson to answer this question? Derek, is there some way that President Trump can activate the Insurrection Act without making it public and go into some of these cities? And it's like, oh, you didn't know that I did that? Yeah, I did that. Yeah, that's the way you guys operate all the time. You have your own law. And so we have the right law. You have the ugly law, and we have the good law. And you're like, we're in charge. And everybody's like, oh, they're in charge. And they're not. They're not in charge. If enough of us push back on it, like when COVID hit, we could have stopped it out. But they're like, they don't know that we're not in charge, but we're going to act like we're in charge, and then they're going to believe that we're in charge. And so that's what happened. COVID lockdowns all over the world. And then everybody's like lining up for vaccinations. It's like 80% of America, and some other places a lot higher, almost 100% in some countries. And then some countries, didn't do it at all. I think the Swiss didn't do it at all, or was it Swiss or one of those countries? They're just like, just do whatever, do whatever, and it worked out pretty good. And that was like for COVID. And there's like, you want to wear a mask, you can. But then when the shot came out, they're like, they went full stupid. They went full evil, and they like, push the shot. Now, see, a lot of people remember all those Hollywood people that pushed the shot, looked like they were getting shots. Maybe some of them were, some of them weren't. Some of them have. A lot of them have passed away. There's been a lot of Hollywood types have passed away. So I think a lot of them got shots. And then you have, who's that one country music star, Dolly Parton? She's, what is she, like 79? She looks like she's like 40, 39, 40. Like, what's going on there? And she pushed the vaccination. And now she's having some sicknesses. But she just came out, I think, today. And she looked good to me. I mean, she looked normal. As could be for a 79-year-old that looks like she's 49 or less. I don't know what's going on there. But whatever, good for her. But not so good that she pushed the vaccination. And she even wrote a song about vaccination and sang it. And I don't know if she danced around to it, but probably did, right? That's what she usually does. She dances around when she sings. So not so good. Not so good, Dolly. Not so good. All right. So, but there's a lot of people going to defend her because she's very religious, right? So if she's religious, can't do anything wrong, right? She could be ugly and be religious, like the Pope. The Pope's religious and he's ugly, right? We know that. But I had Leo Zagami. Leo Zagami on last night. He talked it up. And, I don't think a lot of you guys have seen that. It doesn't have a whole lot of views, which I thought it would at this point. Maybe you don't understand what he's doing. He's basically exposing the evil in religion. The ugly, right? The Trinity, the ugly. So, and he does it really well. I mean, he's got all this. He went into the Illuminati. It's like I went into the CIA, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're CIA, always CIA." No, I did the good stuff in the CIA. Like he did the good stuff in the Illuminati, and he learned a lot of stuff, and he came out. And now he's talking about it. Kind of like me. I was in the CIA. I was like, "Oh yeah, there's some problems here. There's some good. There's some so CIA bad and ugly in the CIA. No white hats. No white hats at all in the CIA. It's all bad or ugly in the CIA. It's all, I wouldn't say all bad and ugly in FBI now. It looks like we got some good characters in FBI. But I would say that, at some point when we have taken down the deep state, then the CIA goes away completely. And the FBI will be reconfigured into something else. And so there's going to be a lot of this stuff, a lot of religions, and maybe not just, I'm being like carte blanche on religions, but there is very great numbers of religious institutions, I would say, that are ugly, right? Ugly. And then there's some that are bad. And then there's a few that are good. And I know everybody's saying, I'm in the good. And then you're going to find out that you're in the ugly, right? And that's what I found out when I went to the CIA. I was like, oh, it's good. And then I found out, oh, there's a lot of ugly. There's a lot of ugly in there. And the one that's whatever's not ugly is bad, right? Red hats. All right. So Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, ugly, right? So you start looking at these ugly, right? Evil. And you don't have to go any further. So everything else that comes out of his mouth, everything that he does is evil, right? So we don't have to play games. It's like, oh, he did something nice. No, he did something nice to take your attention off his evil, right? Which is evil, right? If you're evil doing nice things, that's evil because you're trying to fool people into believing that you're good, which is basically what the Democratic Party is all about. All right. So it's very frustrating. Very frustrating with a lot of this stuff. Chicago anti-ICE chaos only proves why National Guard is needed. So let's look at this mayhem because it's mayhem. And, you have Prickster and the mayor of Chicago saying, nothing wrong here. Meanwhile, they have like 1,100 shooting deaths or something crazy. It's like, wow, that's a lot. Yeah, I think you got something going on there. Stop being ugly. Stop being evil and lying. Chicago anti-ICE chaos only proves why National Guard is needed. right? So now I get the ad. I had all that fighting going on. It was like, wow. So now the reason why I wanted to bring this up is, so here's a Democrat that is somehow good. I don't know how that happened, but this one guy is a good guy. At least he's posing as a good guy at this point. Raymond Lopez, alderman for Chicago's 15th Ward, fears rhetoric from leaders like Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and Mayor Brandon Johnson is pushing the city and the country to a dangerous place that there may be no coming back from. I would say, Mr. Lopez, you need to watch your back. All right, watch your six. The politics of the city and of hyper-progressive liberalism is bringing us closer to the brink with an escalation that I don't think any of us truly wants to see, Lopez told the Post. The governor, the mayor, with a wink and a nod, told everyone to protest peacefully, and we've seen the exact opposite unfold. They're continuing to play a game of chicken with other people's lives. It's coming to a point, and here's Mr. Lopez here. Good job, Mr. Lopez. Those ICE operations were targeted by violent harassment, with some protesters even following federal agents and boxing them in on Saturday, according to the Department of Homeland Security, right? So, I mean, we're going to see people that will stand up and do the right thing. It's going to be extremely rare in Democrat Party, right? Because they pretty much toe the line. We see how they vote. They all vote the same. And then you'll have a occasional rhino like Rand Paul that will vote along with them. And I don't know what's going on with Paul. It's like, what are you doing? Did that beat down you got in your yard, like where you almost died, that shift you to voting for the Democrats? What's going on? So there's a lot of problems out there, and there's people that have been he didn't do a Jeffrey Epstein Island tour, so his neighbor came in and beat him almost to death. So I guess that pushed him in the wrong direction, or something did. All right, so huge court win as President Trump restores law and order and destroys Antifa. Dr. Steve Turley.
Portland, Oregon, a Democrat monopolized rat-infested wasteland, a third world hellhole. Sorry, that's an insult to third world. A city that spent over 100 nights in Antifa-initiated turmoil, a city that has finally met its match in President Trump. The game just took a dramatic turn. Remember that left-wing lunatic disguised as a federal judge who issued a temporary restraining order over the weekend, blocking President Trump from deploying the Oregon National Guard troops to Portland? Yeah, well...
evil. All right. Ugly. All right. Not saying that she is ugly. She doesn't look ugly to me, but she's definitely in the ugly, evil category. And listen to what her fellow judges did.
Just told to shove it by her judicial colleagues. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals unanimously, yes, you heard that right, unanimously lifted this activist judge's restraining order on Trump's mobilization of Oregon National Guard troops. And so now the National Guard, together with federal agents, are descending en masse on this third world Democrat imploded city with one ruthless mission: restore law and order once and for all.
So some of those little lefties are going to get 8 years in prison. Listen to this.
No more catch and release. No more city officials handicapping law enforcement. The hammer of justice is dropping in its most dramatic fashion yet. So now as we speak, these violent Antifa rioters are being slapped with 8-year federal felony charges for assaulting officers. For the first time in years, real accountability is arriving, with rioters being tossed in federal penitentiaries, not let out in hours to riot again. And the effect? Residents are taking to the streets to cheer the federal heroes for cleaning up neighborhoods and reclaiming the city. Portland's multiracial communities finally see peace return thanks to President Trump's unyielding approach. And they are thankful. And
yeah, I saw in Chicago where there was like a Border Patrol guy, big old boy, white guy, blonde. He's in a convenience store getting some stuff, and everybody's like congratulating him, telling him thank you. Black man, coming up and shaking his hand. Whew. I was like, wow, that's good. That's real good. And so people want to see their cities return to peace once again, without the criminality that Democrat Party brings, because they profit from it, right? So and that's part of the deep state, basically alternate reality that they've created in these cities that's not based on the Constitution. So that's bringing the Constitution in, bringing in law and order. Will restore the constitutional acts within those cities. We'll stop the theft. We'll stop the taxation that's happening in a lot of these places. We'll stop the extreme insurance fraud that's going on in these states. It's all coming to a head very rapidly. And as people start to see this happening, like as some of these other cities start to see that people are going to jail for 8 years in a penitentiary, federal penitentiary, where it's not nice. There's no like playing with ponies out in the grass and all that stuff that some of these places are having a cell with a transgender, that's a rapist. Yeah, there's some serious stuff going on there. So we're going to see a lot of this stuff basically start to turn around and get cleaned up, and people are going to be like, yep, I'm not going to get out of line. Right? I'm going to go to the white hat side, and that's it. I was a little bit ugly, but I'm all white now. I'm good. I'm a goodie. Right? I'm never going ugly again. Right? You never want to go ugly. You never want to go full retard. No one ever goes full retard. But as you see, some of those people in Portland went full retard, and they're going to find out, right? So everybody's going to be like backing off, going full retard. They're out. I'm out of full retard. Remember that happened when Trump was in office, and they were trying to like tear down all the statues and so forth in DC, and he made it 8 years, 8 or 10 years or whatever it was, and a couple of people got that, and so all those tear down of statues stopped, at least while Trump was in office. And then when Biden came in, they started it up again, right? So yeah, there's good things that are happening out there under Trump, and it's going good, right? I got to show that filthy sausage. That's some handle. All right, so filthy sausage. All right, nice. All right, sometimes you see some good ones. Right, so you got to like point them out. Yeah, look at that. That's good. So that's creative. All right, so now I did a show with the Ages group, the doctors. That's Dr. Ardis. Remember, Dr. Ardis was part of exposing how the COVID shot was venom, had venom in it, snake venom. He's done the same thing. I remember going like almost 3 years ago. I went to their first conference. Really, really good. And he was like, okay, on your computers or on your iPhone, look up Ozempic. So he had us go through, and it's like Ozempic, and he said, look at this, look at this, look at this. It was military. The military was behind Ozempic. military labs. And Ozempic basically has Gia Monster venom in it. So he pointed that out almost 3 years ago. And he said, we're going to see people go blind, and we're going to see people have their guts will shut down. They won't be able to eat anymore, have to be fed intravenously. I said it 3 years ago. And now there's like huge cases that are coming out where all these people have all these those problems we talked about, right? Now, they also talked about in their they exposed so many things. Dr. Group basically talked about how he went on Alex Jones in 2018 and said they're going to come out with the bioweapon, and then they're going to come out with a vaccine that's going to be worse, way worse than the bioweapon. And then after he did that show on Alex Jones in 2018, he got death threats. Alex Jones got death threats. And that's when they started to attack Alex Jones and took down his channel and all that stuff. So these guys are like cutting edge. I've learned a lot from them. Now, they also talked about history, how this snake thing goes all the way back into the cult of Asclepius, which is basically this guy was like, you would come into this, you'd have all these rooms or whatever, and you come in and there'll be all these snakes all over the place, and you're supposed to like hang out with the snakes. Crazy stuff. But you see, like in the temple of the Parthenon in Nashville, because I've been there several times, you see Athena, who was on the Acropolis. So above Greece was the statue of Athena, and she was the patron goddess of Athena, or of Athens. So guess what was on her shield, and all around her on her wrist, she had like bracelets. Anybody?
I'm not sure I understand.
My watch is like, I'm not sure I understand. Yeah. I didn't ask you. What the hell? Anyone want to like take a gander at what's all over Athena's shield and right next to her and around her? She's got wristbands, snakes. Wayne Sanford, snacks. But I know you meant snakes, right? Yeah. Robin, good. So good. A reptilian. Yes, a snake is reptilian. So that's good. You got it right too. I'll give that one to you. But yeah, snakes all the way back then. They used snakes for healing all the way back 2,500 years ago, guys. So this is on Athena's shield. Snakes in that strange head. I don't know what that's about, but the Greeks were blonde. Or were they? I don't know. So back then, were they dark haired or were they blonde? I don't know. Who knows? But there's lots. So I've looked into that. I remember going there and there's like a plaque because I was like, what the heck is going on with these snakes? So I'm figuring this out years ago. I saw this years and years ago. I'm like, snakes? And then they came out and then Dr. Artis talked about snake venom. And I was like, this has been going on for a long time. I even asked them, I said, I've been to Parthenon there in Nashville, and there's like snakes all over the place. What is this stuff been going on for a long time? They're like, you got it. So I've learned how to think. Right? I do the critical thinking. I put things together. I hope you guys are doing the same thing. But it's crazy, guys. This stuff has been going on for a long time. This deep state has gotten thousands of years of practice in how to control us. And yes, they control us in lots of different ways. And they have the good information. They know they don't get vaccinated, guarantee you. And they don't do all the stuff that they tell us to do. You ever see those videos where, back during COVID, where they're like doing the masking and they like, you'd have all these political types. I remember one that was in England where they had all these political types and they were like all in masks and stuff like that. And then they showed before that. Somebody was videoing them before, and the guy that was going to, the head guy was like, "Put your mask on." So everybody's like scrambling around, putting their mask on, and then the camera starts, and they all got their mask on. None of them had their mask on before that. Yeah. So pretty crazy stuff. These people that we have believed should be in charge of us, they should not be. They should not be at all, right? So that's going to be something we're going to have to turn around, and it's not going to work out too good for them. So, of course, James Comey pleads not guilty to his 2 federal charges, of which, he may get 5 years for each, but not if Halligan, I think that's her name, right? In the Eastern Virginia courts, if she doesn't belong there. It's like they just stuck her there. Like, we're getting desperate, so we're going to have you go there, and here's your list of people you're going to indict. James Comey, then Letitia James, and then da-da-da, and la-da-da, and la-da-da. And maybe it's just all for show. But there could be that thing where once they're indicted and they don't serve or they don't get a trial, it's null and void. Ooh. I know there's something like that out there. That would not be good. So anyway, you want to get into the place where you're going to kick the vaccine, because we talked about this today. Everyone is suffering from those people that got vaccinated. If you've been vaccinated and you're, clean yourself out and so forth, great for you, but a lot of people haven't. And they're becoming very toxic to everybody else. And we talked about this would happen 5 years ago. I said, don't get vaccinated before the vaccination came out. And then we started talking about how those people that are going to get this vaccination, it's going to fester inside them, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And then they're going to be like super toxic to everybody around them. Right. So those people that have gotten shot after shot after shot after shot, they're so toxic. Oh my God. And they're probably having multiple problems. They can't figure it out. Right. So they talked about how you can overcome a lot of stuff. One of the greatest things you can do, of course, is the LifeWave patches, guys. So the X39, highly recommend that. I want you guys to survive. You guys are listening to me at this point. Please don't die. All right. Because I've spent a lot of time educating you. And I know you've probably spent a lot of time educating yourself. So don't go full retard. All right. Get yourself, there's lots of different modalities out there that are useful and helpful. Find something that's going to keep you clean, because it's nonstop. We have to detox nonstop at this point. Unless you're in the woods somewhere and, you got beehives and sheep running around and ostriches. Do you see the thing in the ostriches in up in Canada, where they're basically trying to kill like 400 ostriches? So the ostriches, because they've lived for a long time, I've talked about this already, the ostriches basically have built some kind of crazy immunity. So if you eat ostrich eggs, you get that immunity. Crazy. I've eaten some ostrich eggs, of course. Yeah, good stuff. Wow, one ostrich egg, like, whoa, that's a lot, right? Like big. I got one. I think we had one that was green, really neat. So, so in Canada, under the WHO's direction, they sent in like this army of Gestapo police, which basically wanted to slaughter all 400 of those ostriches, because they've been studying them for a long time, figuring out what it is about them that can resist diseases like COVID, just basically cancel it out. So, of course, they got to shut them. They're still doing this. Canada, if Canada is to go to the United States, which I think it already is, but the people have to wake up to it. And that's what we're seeing in a lot of these cases around the world. we have to awaken so that they can activate, right? So if you believe in the lie of the deep state that they're in charge, they're going to continue to squeeze and squeeze and squeeze until there's nothing left of you. There's nothing left of you, right? Until you turn into your what these guys were talking about. These guys were talking about some serious stuff, and they've been cutting edge. A lot of their stuff they're doing biohacking on us, chemtrailing in our food supply and the vaccinations and all that stuff. They're turning us into robots, right? Soulless robots. And that's what a lot of this technology, biotech, is doing to a lot of people. If you survive it, if you survive all the stuff they're throwing at you, if you're not detoxing and your body's just like taking it all in and starting to convert you into a robot with no soul, and then once they hit that 51% of Terminators, right, the rest of us are going to be in trouble. Right? We're already in trouble with a lot of these people with their shedding from the vaccination, and then they're going to start to turn into friggin' robots, guys. Biotech robots, soulless. So the soul's going to leave the body. But soul's going to like, I'm out. And that's they talk about that, and they talk it really well, a lot better than I can. You're like, whatever, Mike. You don't have anything to back that up. No science. Yeah, there's a lot of science, but anyway, that's what's happening. We're moving in that direction. That's their goal. So the Terminator thing is like for real, guys. Maybe they've already, I'm sure they already got some Terminators out there. Non-humanoid. Yeah, you say humanoids, but yeah, kind of like a little bit of human, but mainly robot, crazy. So that's right, Judy. Jesus is king. Right? He'll protect us. That's all we got to do. We just focus on Jesus and it's all done. Yeah, we have to get activated. We have to activate and push back. And Jesus said, these things I do, you can do an even greater. That means we can push back on these people and know them for who they are. And, with that knowledge, we can defeat them. But if you don't have that knowledge, if you're just like, well, some random source like President Trump's just going to come in and take care of everything. All right. He's done this over and over again where he basically says this or that, this or that. And that's what he does. He does that really well. So you want good or you want evil? Good or evil? It's up to you, right? So Canadians, we're going to get that Alberta 51st state. In Saskatchewan, 52nd. You guys are effed if you don't do it. Absolutely, completely, and by probably the end of if not this year, then into the middle or so of next year, you're going to be fully and absolutely controlled in your state of Canada. So I said back when you Canadians, you better leave. Back when COVID started, when the COVID bioweapon came out, I said, Canadians, run away, run from Canada now while you can. And then a lot of people got locked up in Canada. And then if you went back to Canada, then you went through all kind of crazy treatment. So this time, if you don't do a 51st and 52nd state, if you can, you better crawl, fly, or go underground to get the hell out of Canada. Otherwise, you're totally effed in Canada. You are effed in Canada, guys. Right? So you gotta get because you Canadians are like a bunch of Californians. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be. Right? You don't push back. You learn from your British masters not to get out of line. Right? And you have a few people that do, of course, but it's not enough. It's not enough. Same thing in California. I've been talking about this for years. Not enough people that push back, right? So, and same thing in Chicago, same thing in all of Illinois, same thing in New York. So I know some of you are like, well, if we push back, we're going to get pushed back on. That's right. That's why you have to have a lot of people push back. And if you don't, then yeah, you leave. Right? Otherwise, all right, here we go, guys. It's coming down to the wire. The crazy stuff is about ready to, like, go high order. And if you're not in a position where you can protect yourself and your significant others, your crew, right? If you guys aren't, I saw today after we did that show with the doctors, I saw somebody, or maybe it was in another show. I don't know. Anyway, sometimes I go around and look at the chat, and I sometimes make comments what I like as much as I can. But there's thousands. I can't look at them all, guys. But sometimes I'm, drawn, I guess, to come in. And there was this one woman that said, I didn't get vaccinated, and no one in my family got vaccinated. And I was like, you are the only one. It's like, is there anyone out there? Anyone else? All I see, 99.9% of people is like, I tried to tell everybody in my family, and they got it anyway. Now, I was lucky. There's only my daughter got vaccinated because she was in school, and they kept hammering her. We're all telling her, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And she's in friggin' liberal California, Orange County, going to school, and they're like hammering her to get vaccinated. Otherwise, she had to get tested every single day. She was going to classes, and she had worked for years to get her degree. So she was like in her last semester to get her degree. So frustrating. So she ended up getting vaccinated, got super sick, and I got her on the patches. And she just got blood work recently, and she's good, right? So there are alternatives, but if you don't realize you got bioweapon hacked, right? Biotech hacked, and your system, your DNA and everything is basically turning into a zombie. You're turning you into a zombie. If you live from it, you will be a zombie, right? So that's pretty much where we're at. Yeah, wonderful one, Doc. Yeah, I'm super happy. So, and my son, he was unfortunately, years and years and years. Shouldn't have lasted as long as he did, I think, as a heroin addict. But I got him on patches, and he did really well for a while, and probably lasted a lot longer than he should have, like I said. But, I don't know if he stopped using them or what, I was checking on him, but once you stop using and then you use again, like there's so much, what's that stuff that's killing everybody? Anyway, that one drug that they're cutting all the drugs with now, it's super, super toxic. So he got, did the toxicology, and unfortunately, he got some of that in him. So no, not meth, fentanyl. Yep. So fentanyl. So fentanyl was in, his heroin. He went back to heroin, started using again, and acting like everything was good. That's the way they are. They'll lie to you. It's kind of like the saying that if an addict opens their mouth, they're lying. Unfortunately, but he was doing really well for a long time, because I was with him for like months, and I was making sure that he wasn't using. So he was clean every day on the patches. He was talking about that was the best. He always thought that, when is it going to get good? You get off drugs and it's supposed to get good. So he's like, this is the first time ever it was good. But, fell back, unfortunately. But there are, he had an amazing life, his amazing soul. He's on the other side doing really good stuff. So I get communications with him all the time. So he lasted a lot longer than he was really meant to be here. So anyway, he came in for his, to push a certain agenda and work through certain things. And he did that, and then hung around and, had a good time with us. So, and then like boom. So you guys that aren't into past lives and all that kind of stuff, you start to realize, you come in sometimes for certain agendas, and you get those, you do those, and you go back out, you come back in, and sometimes you have multiple lives at the same time. So, which he is doing. Right? So now when he comes back in again, he's going to come in with a lot more energy. At least that's what I'm getting. And that, so because he's having multiple lives, he came in with a certain amount of energy to do a certain thing, and he accomplished that. So it boosted his soul quotient and so forth. So that's what he does. So anyway, going off on a tangent again, but coming back around, what we do, like Trump does, bring it back around, and we talk about how at the beginning of this, it's a trinity. It's good, bad, and ugly. Some people are good, and they get sucked into that ugly side, unfortunately, like my son. So, but he will come back out. He will have the good, but get sucked back. It's tough. So we need to do the best we can to create an environment where there is no more ugly. Right? And a lot of people are like, can we even do that? I believe that we can. I think we're moving into a consciousness that will have only good. Right? There will only be good. And I think some people think that that's impossible, but I believe there are worlds out there that they've already worked through the good, the bad, and the ugly, and there's no more ugly, there's no more bad, there's only good. I believe that exists. And they interact with us, and they try and help us, but we're like the stray dog that, this is the way in the Middle East. There's all these stray dogs around there, and they're all super humble, most of them. The people in the Middle East, they don't like dogs, right? So most of them, there's a few that do, that have been Western trained usually. They've been in Western schools and so forth. But anyway, there's dogs that roam. I don't know how, but there's dogs, wild dog packs and so forth. But they're all super humble. So when we've been in different places, whether it's Afghanistan, Pakistan, or Libya, wherever we were, Libya doesn't really have a wild dog problem, but other places do. We would take in those dogs, and they'd come, and we'd feed them, and they'd be all happy, they'd hang out, and we get them cleaned up, and they'd hang out. They were like all happy, and maybe one or two of their buddies would come and join them. But eventually, they'd always go out. They like the wildlife, right? They'd always they disappear, right? They had the best of everything, had good life, but they were, they'd already been in that wildlife. So they went back out, starving, all mangy and all kind of crazy stuff. And the locals hate them and, kick at them and throw stuff at them and so forth. So, we're going to continue to see that for a while. Like some of these people that are in Portland, they're like those mangy dogs out there, right? They're wild things that, just, I don't know if they'll ever change. Maybe they'll have to go to, 8 years of penitentiary life. And hopefully in the penitentiary life in the future, they'll start to treat people a little bit differently, teach them a trade or something. That'll be a requirement. And they'll learn the trade while they're in there, and they'll come out. I think those are the really good prison systems where they do that. And I know they're out there, but most of them are just like, it's a money-making thing. And the judges, some of the police and all that, they're all in on it, guys. They're all in on politicians. That's why they just let people out. They'll put them in the prison. They get a little certain money, and then they kick them out. They're like, okay, you can go now. Go make some more crime because we're going to benefit from that. They benefit from it, right? They benefit from the crime. That's why they have the crime out there. So we need to really look at working and transforming some of those people, the homeless. I showed a show the other day where this veteran guy that saw, like I did, and was exposed to extraterrestrial stuff, right? And then there's like this one group within the deep state, the uglies, they basically attack people that have that connection or have that information and can share that information and awaken people. So if you're part of an awakening process, is if you've done that, you know, you get attacked. All right. Like all those doctors, all of them have been threatened, attacked, almost killed, all of them. Right. So these are the people that are bringing us information, like myself, that's trying to help humanity. So we're having a lot of these people that are being attacked. And if you want to share something that will help humanity, look out. So here I am. I've had this experience where the deep state doesn't like that. So they focus on me and destroy my life, destroy my credibility, talk bullshit about me. And that's what this one guy in the show that I put out the other day, he had one of those experiences. And I was like, yep, all of us that have that, and there's lots of us, they destroy our lives and try and kill us so that we don't share that information. So there are good ET entities that are out there that are trying to help us, but we're like that mangy dog that just loves to, they would come in and clean us up, and then we'd run back out and get all mangy and starving again, right? That's the way most of humanity still is. So that's obviously a problem. And that's why they're not going to help. So we just stopped. We're like, yeah, we'd like to help those dogs, but it doesn't work out. They're going to do their life. They're going to we'll give them food every now and then, but yeah, that's their thing. Just like my son, that was his thing. He's going to do that. You can only help him so much. He's here to experience that, and he's gone, right? So maybe some of these people, we can help them so that they completely break free from that system. I know a lot of addicts from all kind of stuff have broken free and, lead incredible lives. I mean, there's probably thousands of people right now that could say, yeah, me. So there is that potential. And there is the potential that we could believe and understand that there are extraterrestrials out there that could help us and have been. So I think like the Tesla stuff, and I think like David Schmidt, the guy that does the Life Wave, I think they get information from now some people was like from God, energy, higher source, but I think that there's positive ETs that are beaming good information at us as well. And of course, in some of these uglies, there's some negative ETs that are beaming energy and frequencies and thoughts of them, right? So it is getting to the point where we're at the precipice of overcoming all that. We're very close, and it's a very exciting time. Whatever your belief system, like whether you believe that Charlie Kirk, really got shot and died, or if you're like me, you saw that and you're like, bullshit, right? That's no. So, and I've talked about that in a lot of shows. So, it doesn't matter that you don't have my beliefs. You don't believe in ETs. You believe very strongly in your religious beliefs, and you don't believe that there was other influences and other things that may have happened, and maybe somebody came in and manipulated some biblical text and stuff. You don't believe that, right? I do, right? In fact, I'm almost completely 100% certain that happened, right? When you look at all the, critical thinking information and so forth. So when you know that, like, for instance, in the beginning, let's make them in our image. Let's make man in our image. That's not like one being. Hello. So you can look at all that stuff and you can like, oh, well, they meant this. No, that's what they wrote. I think that's what they meant. All right. So, or maybe it got mixed up in the translation, which happened in a lot of stuff. But regardless, when you look at the old Aramaic, and the Old Testament comes from who? The Jews. All right. And who killed Jesus? Who was Jesus? A Jew. And who was it? He went to a court and they said, kill this man. Romans, crucify him. All right. And so we still believe in the Old Testament, but they're the ones that, killed, if you're Christian, killed your Savior, your God. Right. So the first commandment, there can be no other God before me. And then somewhere in that New Testament, they put in that I am the only way to God. Well, that's breaking the first commandment. So, you can play games with all this stuff, guys. It's up to you. But really, and eventually, you don't need any of that. There is a connection that you can have with God on your own. And these people that tell you that you have to go through them, like the Pope, oh my God, the Pope and the bishops. The Pope, Leo Zagami said that the Pope told the bishops in America to fight Trump on immigration. That's some effed up stuff, right? That's not cool. And they are. Some of them are. In Texas even, of all places. So, and hey, Dub, 3 hots and a cot. Yeah, that's military. You're good. You're good to go. All right. Okay, guys, that's all I got for tonight. Look at that. Look at that beautiful night back there. Isn't that gorgeous? It's gorgeous, right? All right. That's my view. That's my view when I eat dinner. That's lovely. And I'm looking at it right now because I can see it in the screen. So that's cool. So while I'm talking to you, you guys see it. I see it. It's fantastic. We're all one tribe. We're all working together. We all have separate, everybody has individual beliefs and understandings and so forth. But ultimately, we can all work together, right? As white hats, right? As good guys, right? As goodies. All right. Lots of love. Stay in the love vibration. I know it's hard. I know it's hard for some of you people out there. But just fake it till you make it, right? It's like when you feel yourself getting angry or fearful, oh yeah, that love. It's the strongest force in the universe. And that's a God energy. Yep. Got to go love. Stay love. Think love. Be love. All right, guys. See you next time.